Okay. All right, folks. Hello, it's me, Francisco, joined by my good buddy Charles here. Sports Cubes number 189. This is the last one of the season, Charles. We're done after this until the new year. So this is our sort of end of the year show, holiday specials a little bit. I forgot to put the snow. Whoopsies. I usually put the snow on around this time of year, but whatever. It's
We
the
live in
holidays.
Florida.
Yeah, true. It did get chilly a bit here last couple days, but yeah, it's been real nice out here. Nice out here lately. So this is 189, Charles. This is the Goome Awards. Okay. And
Our first annual Goome Awards
yeah,
title.
it's the first time we kind of go through these. And we do like the superlatives and stuff like that every year, but this is the first dedicated one. We're actually gonna really focus on the gaming, but we'll go through the game awards and kind of see all the winners and the nominees and everything like that, and then basically how the show was, and then eventually we'll have our own personal game awards, the Goome Awards, where we will talk about the games that we played this year, whether they came out this year or not. So just the stuff that we enjoyed. Charles got a few under the deadline today. That
Knock
will
us
be
out
in
as much as we
consideration.
can.
So that's he's on full on PTO right now. So just taking care of what matters there. And yeah, I mean, as for us, as far as the sports is concerned, I guess eventually we'll talk about Ohtani and all the money he's making but not making at the same time, you know? And I guess I don't know if we'll talk about the NBA or the NHL. It's happening. They're happening. Those are,
NBA, Triple J, NHL. Charles is still playing NHL to learn it fully,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be good.
yeah. And then the Panthers are doing well to start the season. The Heat are but Tyler Hero was never going to play a full season in his career. And then we'll do the wrestling at the end, Charles. And I guess by the time we come back, because with the wrestling and everything, as we know, you're going to be on the run up to the Royal Rumble.
I am going to be on the run up of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So I guess Charles will kind of have sort of a recap. I think eventually, I mean, I don't know if maybe when we start the year, we can give your superlatives for match of the year and things like that.
Yeah.
We usually do.
That's fair, and I would say it's because there's no December pay-per-view for WWE, but World's End for AEW is happening. So it's like, if they can coax 50 from me, which is a half and half possibility, then I think it's fair to kind of give it till January.
Okay.
I know it's the greatest match of the year,
Okay.
like bar none. We already know that.
All
But
right.
there's some things we will do with it.
Yeah, you can do like a top 5-ish or something like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we'll do that at the start of the next year, and then we'll have the run up to the end of this version of the show, because we're gonna do some sort of GOOFS 2.0, as we all know. We've been kind of hinting at it. Might restart it completely. I have no idea. But either way, by the way, this is the last one for a few weeks until we're back sometime in January. At the very most would be a week before the Royal Rumble, so Charles can actually give a preview of it before he actually goes and sees it. So that's where we're at. But Charles, this is a different show that we're starting with, because we're gonna not end the normal sports segments with the petty train. We're gonna start with it today, Charles. We're gonna start the petty train right now, and then we'll eventually get to the Goome Awards. So I'm gonna get the big screen up right now. I've got in the background, I've got some hockey games on. I got the Rangers and the Leafs today, so screw the Leafs. I want the Leafs to lose, so we'll go with that. And in the background, as far as the music is concerned, we've got Quantum Break's soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am
hint, everybody.
Very, very much heavily hinted right there. So what we're going to talk about later on. But let's get the NFL scores up, Charles. And we're going to run through a few of these very quickly, because there's only really one game I cared about that I watched.
Same here.
Yes, but we'll run through the rest of them just because the Patriots beat the Steelers, because the Steelers are going to find a way to be 9-8 and get the 6th seed.
Will Levis is better quarterback than Bailey Zappi and Mitch
All right.
Trubisky.
Well, all right, that's one. All right, then we head over to the New York Jets defeating the Houston Texans in C.J. Stroud's worst game of his career.
Will Levis is better than Zach Wilson.
Okay.
Jury out on C.J. Stroud.
Jury out now. Okay.
Yeah, jury out now. Got concussed and doesn't have his 2 best guys. What, you can't do it yourself?
Then we've got the Baltimore Ravens defeating the Los Angeles Rams in overtime.
Will Levis is probably not better than Lamar Jackson. On par with Matt Stafford.
Okay. All right. Then we've got the New Orleans Saints beating the Carolina Panthers. Panthers continuing that tank, which will be relevant later.
Will Levis is better than the first-round pick of the draft quarterback, Bryce Young, and better than the overpaid Derek Carr. For some reason, this is why you can never listen to NFL analysts, is projected to always be a guy who fixed it when he really did not do much in Oakland/Las Vegas. You guys just hated the Davis family, understandable, so much that you convinced other people that he was the missing piece of the puzzle. Keeping in mind, going a little bit on the petty train here, but this is the Derek Carr analysis. Keeping in mind, the Colts rather go with Gardner Minshew and then taking unproven Anthony Richardson in a draft just because he has a cannon versus the guy that you say is established. And it's no hate onto Derek Carr. You got to be objective sometimes. And, being objective sometimes hurts. And if you want to be more objective, everybody, follow Panthers historian, Marlins historian, Charles the True, Dan Frijoles, FJOJR Jr., sports_goofs on the Twitter or the X. You see, I put it all together. Continued in the draft.
All righty. Then we've got the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Indianapolis Colts.
Will Levis is better than Gardner Minshew and Jake Browning. But good for Jake Browning.
Hey,
his story, another one of those D2 schools. But it also shows to show that if you have a well set up team of receivers, because that's Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, nothing snuff on with sometimes Joe Mixon deciding to be relevant, you can win. Keep in mind, Tennessee, just say Ron Coughlin.
The Bucks beat the Falcons, our favorite low brain quarterback. Threw a lot of yards, but just a touchdown and interception and all that.
Will Levis is better, or Levis, I don't know how you say it these days, is better than Desmond Ridder. And kind of better than Baker Mayfield. He makes throws that Baker can't. I just like this Baker Mayfield narrative where everybody puts on under radar where he's going to be a 7-10 Bucks leading them to the NFC Championship game. Watch. You could just tell it's happening.
The Browns beat the Jaguars.
Will Levis is better than a high ankle sprain, Trevor Lawrence. And even maybe an older Joe Flacco. Just good for Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
because what's the thing that we've been
back being good?
The disrespect that people put on this man, where he was a Jets backup, and they're like, oh no, Zach Wilson. And he was like a Philly backup traded back to the Jets. I'm just like, I think he was arguably your best guy. I understand that we don't want to pay the old people. What's been the running theme of the NFL? This season, if you don't have a good backup, you're screwed. And I'm just going to tell you, Joe Flacco is worthy to be a backup for a lot of these teams. And I like this little sick narrative of the Cleveland Browns winning a Super Bowl without Deshaun Watson, but with just Joe Flacco having another hot run, just so Myles Garrett, Amari Cooper, and then a poor injured Nick Chubb can get a title out of it.
The Detroit Lions lose to the Bears.
Undoubtedly, Will Levis is better than both Jared Goff and Justin Fields.
The 49ers beat the Seahawks.
Will Levis is better than Drew Lock.
Okay.
And better, because Geno Smith was interested in starting, and better than Brock Purdy. I know what you're saying, guys. Charles, you say that about everybody when Will Levis has a good game. I still don't know if Brock Purdy's good or not. Like, I know he's good enough, right? I think we all objectively can get that. We're not those kind of animals. I just don't know what's going to happen if nothing's going the way it needs to go in that game. I mean, damn, dude. They even had it where there was gifted to them where there's no Geno Smith. Mind you, he doesn't play defense. But I don't know. I'm just going to go with that opinion, and I'm going to keep that opinion that I have.
Okay. So then we've got the joke game of the week. The Minnesota Vikings and the Vegas Raiders, a 3-0 score.
Will Levis, once again, is better than Aiden O'Connell, a draft pick of this year's class. You know, CJ Stroud's number 1 best quarterback of this draft, and then Will Levis is number 2. Just saying. And Josh Dobbs / Nick Mullins, yeah, Will Levis, you're better than that.
Okay. The
Poor Justin
Broncos.
Jefferson, he got hurt.
The Broncos are back to winning again. They won 24-7.
Humble pie time. We haven't done it in a bit, but I talked a lot of smack this season about Sean Payton and even to a degree Russell Wilson. It might not be this 14-3 season that people imagine, but man, I feel like they're gonna get into the playoffs. They're gonna get into the playoffs with a team that I can't name you on because a lot of their offensive players just don't stand out aside from Russ to a degree, and then Cortland Sutton. Jared Judy's not even doing.
Let's see, you got Russ at QB, Javonte Williams.
He's not doing much.
Jaleel McLaughlin. The receiving core is Cortland Sutton, Samaje Perine, Lucas Kroll, Javonte Williams. Of course, yeah. I mean, of course, he's gonna catch. Yeah. I mean,
we got to give that credit. I'm gonna give always a credit to a team that somehow makes it without you expecting it, because even on their defense, they let a lot of guys go, and including Bradley Chubb last year, and then they traded away. I forgot who they traded, but they traded away somebody in the middle of the season, one of the higher end defensive guys, because they're like, and it's still the same kind of Sean Payton offense where it's over reliant on slant routes, short passes, screens. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, but all that being said, Will Levis is better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Not yet on Russell Westbrook's level.
Okay. And he's better than Easton Stick.
And Easton Stick. I'm getting the Bills game next in my mind.
Well, speaking of the Chiefs, Bills, 2017, and Mahomes coming out very, very angry and complaining, and everybody's complaining. And
do we care?
Not really.
I don't really care. Everybody complains in the NFL. Like, I've seen in my 20 years of being an NFL fan, I've always seen people complain. You guys were complaining about last Super Bowl when you said that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles should have won, with ref interference and all this other stuff. I hear it every year, and I just don't care. I don't hate players like that anymore. Only a few, especially in football. I mean, I think it's just Deshaun that I really don't have much, liking for obvious reasons, right? And his extension Cleveland Browns. But realistically speaking, why does it matter? Oh, he complained. Whether or not Kadarius Toney was off sides or not, it doesn't take away the fact that y'all lost. I think if anything, if you have a third-year receiver who is that unaware of the game and how to do stuff like lining up when you're a primary receiver, maybe you should blame your receivers. I'll give you that, Patty. Grow up on that one. And this goes back to the whole thing of Brett Leach just not getting the right kind of help at receivers as well. Y'all guys run the gamut. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know if you guys have heard of him before, but he was on the market for a bit, right? And y'all didn't sign him. OBJ, I don't know if y'all heard about him, but he was on the market, and you guys went with Rashee Rice, and you traded back Mecole Hardman, all these guys there. And I think actually Rashee Rice is going to be fine. Actually, I like him a lot, what he does. But if he said it's fine, but it goes back to what I say a lot. It's just one game, and you're still in the lead per se for the AFC, what is it, West? You got to be careful with the Broncos, but you want to get all fussy about the Bills, who's maybe not even making the playoffs, right? It's not too fair to make that statement, bud. I don't know. It's all just silly. And then fans want to jump on Twitter and act tough or get defensive and talk about NFL officiating. I'm like, guys, we all know the officiating is inconsistent. Let's talk about the bigger problems that happen in the NFL or in sports than, inconsistency with that. That's just me.
The Cowboys with I guess this is their real first statement game of the season, because everybody was questioning them, and it's like, oh, they can't beat anybody who's actually good. Well, they just did it. They smacked the Eagles.
We've been saying for the last couple of weeks the Eagles are flawed, and you can blame injuries, you can blame lack of receivers. I I just think that the Cowboys, it's a total Mike McCarthy thing too, right? Keep it conservative, take advantage, and just let things happen. And it's a high pressure game, but it's not the highest pressure game. I don't know what's going to happen to Mike if they meet again in the NFC. You know what I mean? In the championship or in the division, however it plays out. All I know is Mike McCarthy is kind of like Doc Rivers, right? The regular season coaching where you're expected to be great. So, all right. And the Eagles have some issues, but I didn't watch it really. I watched some highlights. It looked fine. I think everybody will be okay because it's so easy to get into the playoffs, and the way that these teams are built is that anybody could have your number. There feel like there's no true juggernaut for me at least on either side this season. You know, you always feel like you can beat anybody out of this selection. Some people come on hot, but I think the Eagles will be okay. But don't discredit Dallas. Give them their deserves. Yeah, give them their due.
All right. The Packers lost to the Giants.
Ugh.
Is
Ugh. First off, Will Levis is better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, because I feel like if AJ Brown was still on the Titans, Will Levis would have 5,000 yards. I'm just saying, I can't say he's more maturation than Dak. Because say what you will about Dak, we talked about Dak, where his fourth round quality show, but he's matured a little bit, so good for him. Will Levis is better than Tommy DeVito.
Okay.
Will Levis could possibly be better than Jordan Love. He is better, I guess. I don't know. They have similar styles, but Will Levis is more accurate, has a cannon. I'm more disappointed because I'm really pushing for the narrative of the playoff-less Rodgers, or the non-Rodgers Green Bay's make it to the playoffs in his first year gone. I kind of want that. This is a petty train for a reason, guys. And that's my petty that I want. And I desire it deeply, madly, truly. I need it. And and it wasn't really any fault of his own. And they lost on like a last-minute field goal. Hey, to Tommy DeVito, who, undrafted rookie, I believe, or seventh rounder, coming in. He's got the starting job. I think, if anything, this is the problem why you just don't pay quarterbacks, because he looked more in sync in this offense, just jumping in like his second start, than I've seen Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones was healthy, So I don't know. And guys, we know that Jones was really healthy too much this season, but it's not like he was rocking my socks off last year, and even to a degree this year. So thought process, food for thought, right? That's just me. But yes, he is undoubtedly better than some of those select people that we're talking about.
All right, and now we're gonna park the train right here, Charles. Game of the week. Your Tennessee Titans and not my Miami Dolphins. Just going by.
There's somebody in Miami Dolphins, right?
They're mine, but reluctantly mine. Oh, boy. So Will Levis is better than Tua Tagovailoa.
Will Levis is better at Tua Tagovailoa I'm going to break this down a little bit. He's a better passer. He can make all the throws. Make all these throws. You've seen it. He can make crossbody throws. He can make deep throws. He puts some mustard on them short throws, on those medium throws. He's not better and where the ball placement can go. I've seen Tua just throw it right into some guys. Like the pass on Cedric Wilson Jr., I'll give it to him on that.
Charles? Oh, that wasn't even me. Okay, hold on. I didn't. I don't know what happened, but I lost Charles real quick, so he's gone. I shall reconnect with him real quick. Hold on a second. Let's get back to it. Don't worry. It's a quick fix. Well, mind you, I did watch pretty much most of that Miami Dolphins game, and I was watching being the Grinch that I am. Charles, you've been saying a lot of stuff that I was not, because nobody could hear you.
Were you not on?
We were on, except I don't know. I didn't even move, but I guess I jostled the cord just a tiny bit, and you were gone.
Okay.
So
And this is why you got to go wireless. I can easily give you my
what's
my
my mic? I can't go wireless with this one.
yeah.
I
I
gotta buy a
could
new cord.
easily yeah. I could easily go jerk. Do a little jerk for Levis here. Levis lefty. Any point for you. So tell me when to go, and I'll redo it for you.
Well, I just mentioned that I did watch the game in a Grinch-like fashion because that's how I do.
And he did in the group chat, everybody.
Yeah. So the Dolphins, Tua immediately loses the ball. So I was sort of like, all right, here we go.
And we messed his ass up 2 years ago. I think so.
Okay, now that was not me. Charles, I lost you. I think it's his connection because that was not me. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, I lost you completely.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, but you disappeared. I think it was like I was just like a drop in the internet. Okay.
Okay.
So
I feel like
me.
every time I'm trying to talk trash about Tua, the universe interferes.
2-on. It's 2-on. They found out. They heard us. That's what's going on.
Like,
but yeah. So Tua immediately loses the ball to start off this game, but then Will Levis throws the pick six, right?
Yeah, and that happens. He's a rookie, That's the pass I'll give him.
So I mean, it was only his only interception of the game. It was a costly one, yes, but it was just to start. It was, you guys are just spotting the points for the Dolphins because the Dolphins need every single one of them in this game because the Titans put up in that.
We're not Denver.
Quarter,
you're not putting 70 on us.
Yeah, well, the Titans put up 10 points in the second quarter to go up 10-7 going into the half, and I was feeling pretty good about it, Charles. I'm like, yes, this is great. Dolphins Twitter kind of like, they're a little conservative, like, we'll get them in the second half, right? And then third quarter is 3-3 on each end, and it's still a 3-point deficit. Then we head to the fourth, Charles, and then it seemed like, okay, this was it. This is when the Dolphins would finally take over. There was that errant toss back to Derrick Henry. And it was, I guess, a little high for him, and it was a little high and tight for him as well. And he just goes past him, and then he loses the ball, and there you go. And then the Dolphins, of course, score. The defense scores, and this is the doom for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins defense started doing the we are the Titans.
How dare you?
Yep. And the football gods were not happy with that one.
As they should be.
Final 3 minutes of the game, Charles, and it all happens. Please, because this was a moment, Charles. This was a moment. The Titans get that first touchdown, right? It's like, okay, a touchdown.
Which touchdowns are hard for us to get.
Yes.
I'm just saying that right now for no one who doesn't understand.
A touchdown in garbage time, you would say, right? It's like, okay,
yeah,
they got one. But then you guys get possession again. In a very quick fashion. Kudos on your defense.
Thank you.
And
without, I think Jeffrey Simmons was out, as was a couple of other guys.
Yeah.
In our secondary.
And there was a few other injuries that happened to the Dolphins on their end, but I'm not giving them any excuses.
Yeah, don't mess with us. We'll kill you. Powder Blue Gang over here.
And, you have ulterior motives, Charles.
Yes, I do.
You need the tank to happen.
Absolutely. I wanted them to lose. Listen, I'm going to be the first people to tell you. You can't believe your team has to win, so you need them to be challenged and lose. I believe that one bad year is all we need because the AFC South, as we're seeing this season, is woefully inconsistent. And I think if we have a base, that base of being Levis, maybe Tajay Spears, maybe if Derrick Henry wants to come back for one last rodeo, Jeffrey Simmons, a lot of our guys that comes into it. We're retooling, we're relaunching, we're not rebuilding. I believe in it. So I need them to lose.
Because you want Marvin Harrison Jr.
how would you not want the son of the man who was accused of shooting somebody in a gas station?
And also
I'm
one of the
just
greatest
saying.
receivers in the NFL. Yes.
And played in the AFC South. I mean, listen, because if you looked at Marvin Harrison, and if there's any truth to that rumor, which has been one of my favorite rumors in sports, right up there with the Kevin Garnett, Carmelo Anthony beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want that guy. You want that guy. But like, what? So that's why I needed to. But unfortunately, Mike Vrabel has this thing that the Dolphins don't have, which is called pride. You know who could use a little pride? Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has one of the greater sins out there: arrogance. He's just, we can run the ball.
Yeah.
I'm a quarterback genius. Well, we were down 14. We're like the most inept offense that isn't the Minnesota Vikings right now. And you lost to us. Your defense, this highly touted defense, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, all this stuff. Javon Holland, your safety.
Yeah, Christian Wilkins.
And you let DeAndre Hopkins, arguably a Hall of Famer, but the man who is most recently known for making a coming back from the PED suspension training video on Twitter last year, own that ish.
Yeah, he was all over them. 124 yards, touchdown. I mean, how tall is he? Like 6'8"? He's tall. Yeah. He's like massive.
He's like 6'3", and he's probably gonna be 7'2", but his balls weigh him down. And then Xavier Howard just talking about like, oh, it's a push. Y'all were handsy all game. And so we won 28-27.
Yes.
And I sent you guys in the group chat the "I guess" meme, which was my perfect energy.
Yes.
Because we're now boosted up to like the 6th or the 7th pick in the draft because of this stupid victory.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a slim possibility that we could still get Marvin Harrison. It really just depends on what the Cardinals are gonna do, unless we want to trade somebody. But I'm just gonna have to be contested with Keon Coleman as my new starting rookie wideout, hopefully along with DeAndre Hopkins coming back for one more year to take mercy on us. I'm annoyed. I love it. Will Levis is better than Tua Tagovailoa, but I've said enough. I've said my part. Also, we'll give a Henry Handy. We're no longer gonna get those 150 yards anymore. Yeah. But we're no longer gonna get 150 because we have a quarterback now, right? So I'm revising it midseason. Multi-touchdown game and a win, Handy. 100 and something yards and a touchdown and a win, Handy. So I got two hands, right? Who am I to deprive him of this?
Yeah. Well, those last 2 minutes, Charles, I needed that to happen.
Andrew, y'all don't understand that shit. Andrew was trying both of us. Yeah. He was like, because he's a man with no team.
He was like, oh, you guys blew it. I'm like, Andrew, this is what I wanted. I wanted that to happen.
Well, first he's like, Tennessee just, did the thing. And I'm like, okay, good. I don't think you understand it. And he goes, well, you guys blew it. And you're like, okay, good. I don't think you understand.
He should know the MO. I'm the Grinch.
He was in
Grinch of the Dolphins
situation.
Yes, but it was exactly what I wanted and needed to happen, because I need this team to be exposed for what it really is. This team is nothing without a healthy Tyreek Hill.
MVP considerations, hardcore, and unfortunately he's not going to get it because he's not a quarterback.
This much vaunted Vic Fangio in this defense gave up 28 points to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. That's like losing to the quiet kid in class who gets picked last in gym. You know what it reminds me of? We haven't done a Boondocks reference forever. Remember, was it Huey is doing the basketball stuff?
Okay.
Or is it Riley? It's Riley.
Riley.
And, it's Riley, and he's just doing all this stuff Division 1, and then there's just like that one kid with the glasses who just goes super mode on them after that entire team was just doing it and winning. That's exactly what it was.
So it was very evident that without a healthy Tyreek Hill, this team goes nowhere. He was out, nothing happening. The minute he comes back in, even I don't know, he's probably playing at 60% right now. Given
what actually happened to him, because I know he came back. But...
It's got to be something like his ankles or whatever. Right? Either way, he came back, and the Dolphins' offense starts moving again because Tua just needs him like a pacifier.
He's just got to do every screen known to mankind.
Yeah, exactly.
And we try not to run that stereotype, but boy howdy, it really is all the same plays. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, and so, the good teams have been able to expose the Dolphins all throughout the season. And everybody's going back, revising it now. Oh, the Bills aren't really a good team now. Well, they still have a winning record, which is what the Dolphins seem to not be able to contend with. And finally, the game that really exposed the Dolphins, we have a loss to an actual bad team. So this just proves everything. I started texting Doug. You saw the thing I sent to Doug. Putting on my tinfoil hat. Nobody believes me. Everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid down here in South Florida. Oh, the Dolphins, yeah, we're in first place. We're gonna challenge the Ravens. I'm like, I don't know. I still don't see it. They're not there yet. There's too much they're hanging on by a thread, legitimately, and that thread is whatever ligaments are holding up Tyreek Hill right now.
And the thing is, your run game is more supplemental than anything. Even though Mostert's doing fantastic, and Shane is the future.
Mostert's fantastic this season. He's legitimately very
15, 16 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But it really seems like it seems like it just doesn't legitimately matter, though, because it's never going to be the first contention. It's just got to be what a lot of coaches tend to do when they have somebody who signs a mega contract and be like, all right, we got to make you into an MVP quarterback, where, you should just build a team. I don't know. There's some glaring weaknesses.
Well, that's what's gotten exposed, and it was, this is one game. But I saw one guy, Mike Ferguson, we follow each other, and he's on the Marlins history train as well, but he does for all the other teams he follows, the Dolphins and Seminoles, all that stuff. So he posted like all the years where the Dolphins have always had like good starts to their season, and then they just kind of fall apart in the second half, especially in December, which is where the Dolphins are most weak. And then people attribute it to the cold, everything like that. I was like, oh, the Dolphins can't win without the sun blaring down on the other team. So that's another narrative that could be out there. But just he's like, I'm not saying that this Dolphins team is going to be like the other ones, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
I forgot, and that December thing only broke when Flores was like in his final 2 seasons. I remember that being a narrative of the Levitard show for a bit.
Yeah. Brian Flores was like the only one that was able to break it, because the team would start off horribly and then he'd find a way to rally them. Where's Brian Flores now? He's in Minnesota.
He's the defensive coordinator for Minnesota.
Yeah, but I mean, the Minnesota, I guess the defense did well, so they did what they had to do.
Look,
in that game.
To shut out a team, even the trashiest team.
Yes.
It's still impressive. I'm going to give you that. I will give him that, just so I also want to see what the outcome of his lawsuit is for discrimination.
Yeah.
I feel like being stuck in Minnesota with no leading team is hell it is, but they're earning their keep. They were 7-6, I believe. So Kevin O'Connell, possibly.
Yeah. Coach
of the year. Side convo. No Justin Jefferson for like 7 games. No Kirk Cousins.
I just don't like. I like Brian Flores when he was here. I mean,
I liked him too.
Or whatever, but like just all the slander that's come after him since he left here. He's like, oh, he broke Tua and all this other stuff, and it's like, and never.
He did break Tua because he felt that Fitzpatrick was better.
Yeah, and even Ryan Fitzpatrick on like Thursday Night Football has said that too, and I mean, there's some legitimate criticisms here. Is he it? Is he really it? He hasn't proven it to me. It's been a few years now. And he's it with Tyreek, but is he it without him? Not really.
If I had a Tyreek with Will Levis's arm, I'd buy jerseys. I would just have come everywhere.
Yeah. So
you guys don't understand.
The Dolphins lost. The Petty Dragon came out. I did my little tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Riling
At least
people
we
up,
have the Panthers.
Promoting the Marlins and the Panthers. So this would never happen to the Marlins. And I just need people to know. You're all gonna be broken come January. I just know it. I'm trying to save people, Charles. They don't know that I'm trying to save them all from heartbreak. Even the most diehards out there that have seen this time and time again are drinking the Kool-Aid. I can't have that happen, Charles. All right?
May I make one objective dissection about the Dolphins? Because I do have to watch them play more often, considering the fact that when I do want to watch football, it's on CBS, which is them one time. I have never seen a team as desperate as them, except for maybe Buffalo, that needs everything to go this way of Super Bowl or bust in a long time. To justify a first-round draft pick, to justify the money, to justify the trades, to justify the draft picks that were given up, to justify the coaching hire. It's not desperate. There's something desperate about it if you feel like you got your guy. Remember that. There's no hard decision. There's no right or wrong decisions. There's a decision and what you do with the decision. But, it also takes out the premise of the Flores stink, the Stephen Ross taint that's on there, the inconsistencies. I've never seen a team so desperately for so many years that always, and this is where it's going to get mildly controversial, so I'm glad you're anti happy movement right now. I've never seen a team that is so desperate to want to move past its glory years of, having that nostalgia of 17-0 or whatever the perfect record was, to go and say forget Marino. You don't hear it this year. You don't hear it like you used to, at least for me. Now, I got a lot of Dolphin fans or friends who are fans, but I'm not even hearing that I've never seen it like I need this gone to no longer have an old Marino, to no longer have a old Shula. They want McDaniel, and they want Tua, and everything else be damned. And that's just some objectivity that I'm putting on it. And maybe you can agree, disagree, but that's just something I'm seeing with it.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. There are people that are propping this up to be like, this is the greatest. They're comparing. There are people down here, Charles, comparing this team to the greatest show on turf, that '99 Rams team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, that is straight up, like they are
full hockey.
Yes, that is Waco, Texas, right now. There's that level of cult right there, and I can't have that, man. Okay, you're telling me was Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Kurt Warner out there?
Best. From Marshall Faulk, that was the best offense
Marshall
I've ever
Faulk,
seen.
of course. You're calling this team, that team? No. Tyreek, I could see being one of those guys, but no.
But
okay, Jalen
Waddle
Waddle.
Lies the desperation. Is Jalen Waddle a 1,000-year guy without Tyreek? I know he had it, I think, in his second year, but he's just Jarvis Landry. That's just the vibe I get from him. He's just Jarvis,
I guess he'd get more targets if Tyreek wasn't there, but I mean, he only had 6
But he had those
receptions.
opportunities.
Yeah, he only had 6 receptions in this game with 79 yards. So, and that led the team only because Tyreek wasn't there. So, man, but it was great for me. I just needed the Dolphins to be exposed, but the people won't believe. But they'll see, Charles. They'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to look at the rest of the schedule. We're at 40 minutes. So I want to get to the actual game awards before we get to the Goome awards. Our non-sponsors.
Are we not going to talk about the 2 MLB things if you want to occupy
baseball?
10 minutes?
Okay,
yes.
Fine. We'll
I have to. I have a very vested interest in it.
Okay, well. So in baseball, we had 2 major moves from 2 major market teams flexing some major muscle because, well, it's been a while, actually, since these 2 teams have done something like this,
Mm-hmm.
So, let's start with Ohtani. Let's start there.
Yeah, please. Talk about the trash player first.
All right, so Shohei Ohtani, $700 million contract for 10 years. Most of it's going to be deferred. $68 million per year will be deferred until later on, so $680 million. And he's only going to get $20 million of those actually playing for the Dodgers. But of course, he makes a ton of money in endorsements, all that stuff, so it doesn't really matter for his end, anyways. And people, the whole thing around it, whether he was going to go to Toronto or any of those things, he eventually just moved up just a bit more north from Anaheim. And he's there in LA, and he's going to try and become something of a brand here in the United States.
He's just trying to go to playoffs as a player. He
Well,
doesn't want to be the Barry Sanders of baseball.
so right now, that's where we're at with him. I mean, this is going to be an interesting experiment. Can they make this man an actual face of baseball that can be in front of there and everybody's like, it's Shohei, and for baseball, and LeBron has always been for basketball and things like that, and or Patrick Mahomes for football, like that. That's how it's been looking, right? Can they make Shohei Ohtani a star, being a foreigner from Japan and all that jazz? I mean, we had Stephen A. and those people making those arguments in the past on ESPN as the talking head stuff, but it's a legitimate thing because baseball doesn't really have, or hasn't really promoted its stars as well as it did in the past. I would say. I think like they did a lot better 20 years ago. They're trying now. They really are trying. So we'll see if it works if he's out there in LA. But Los Angeles is different than Anaheim, and he'll be hounded by more paparazzi and things like that. And we'll see how much of his privacy he can have in LA as the big man with all that stuff. So,
which I would have been requesting more money for that. I know Andrew in the chat said that you got to be a pretty poor soul if you can't manage on $2 million. I'm like, buddy, if I'm Shohei Ohtani, listen, I'm gonna say this, and this is how I'll explain to people. If Shohei Ohtani lived on the same street as me, I'm a good guy. I'm a lawyer. I don't do anything bad. If he lived on the same street as me and I knew his contract, I rob him, right? And I let him see my face too, so he knows that I don't care what you're gonna do. That's LA, and I think that's a lot of places. But if it's his money, he does what he wants. I think I read a better idea of why he deferred it. And if it's actually the case, I love him and he's a hustler, and I'll respect him forever. It's because of the fact that once he's done with his playing career, he'll bail, go live elsewhere, back in Japan or wherever, and he doesn't have to he doesn't have to get taxed on that remaining $68 million for the remaining 10 years. Genius.
Yeah.
It didn't register on me because we always think there's a permanency, right?
Yeah. Yeah, all that money in California would have killed him. So like here, he won't be as taxed, and so that would be a very smart strategy. And then you saw the one meme with the Wolf of Wall Street, AI thing, or that might be the plan for ownership as well, is just to sell the team once his contract's over. But the Dodgers are going to make both loads on just the merchandise alone from all the people in Japan buying Dodgers jerseys right now. So this is a brand deal to make the Dodgers. Well, it's an attempt to make the Dodgers as big as the New York Yankees.
Yeah. You always have that. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. I always tell you boys that.
So it is their attempt at it, and it's a very good attempt because that's worth $700 million to them. Then so be it. But it also allows the Dodgers, with only $2 million on the books for Ohtani per year, to go out and get pieces to try and give the Dodgers a real World Series ring instead of the COVID one. So that's the plan. So they've got 10 years to do it, Charles. We'll see what happens.
Realistically, they got about 6 years to do so.
Yeah, well, before Ohtani starts breaking down, and he's not even pitching next season.
Yeah, he's already broken, and we can be the talking heads about why it's worth it or not worth it, but it's not really our place because I think it's been done to death. Coming from there, I think you would agree with me. All I will say though is that the pitching aspirations is going to end in a couple of years, guys, unless you have him just take a reliever role, which might be more reasonable.
Yeah,
I don't know if you will want that.
He might be like a spot closer, I guess, or something like that.
I think you pull the Tampa Bay Rays strategy and you just have him start like 2 innings a game, and then you put in somebody else. Because would you want somebody? Yeah. Would you want somebody who's going to be pitching at the very end when he's been putting work on his arm as a batter?
True. Yeah, if he was an opener, you could at least have him pitch twice a week, right? Realistically. So that could be a strategy that could be used in the future.
Hire me, Los Angeles. I've already done better ideas with pitching than Dave Roberts.
And he's just going to be a DH by the end of it anyways. Because you're not going to put him in the outfield.
At all.
Or first base. I mean, honestly, it's right field or first base. That's the only places that you can put him. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's a lot of money for a DH. And What was the other one, stats that you brought out, or somebody had pointed out that he's never had it? Oh, was that
Stugotz.
Stugotz? Yeah,
Stugotz, and I gave
he's never had
follow the
he's
11
never
touch
had a
show.
100
Shit
RBI
time.
season.
Never had a 100 RBI season. I said that the whole. I also believe. I do wholeheartedly believe, and I said this the last couple of years. I like Ohtani, but I do believe he only gets the MVP aspect of it because of the pitching component, and that might be controversial for people to hear. Okay, but still, I want to see how you're gonna because I'm also a Yankee fan, so I've had to be the bearer of bad contracts, and then everybody like, well, he wasn't worth this or this or this. You want to pay that much for someone who's just going to be doing that at that point? I don't know, but he hasn't had all those things that Stu got brought up. Hasn't done the postseason, so we don't know what he's going to do. Not that I think it relatively changes too much. He is a smart player. He doesn't strike out a lot, but are you going to be asking to lead? His role, I think there's a big role sometimes when you pay big money to people is to how much of a face of the franchise, not just of the organization or not just of the sport, the franchise can you be? And can he handle that? And regarding the deferred payment stuff, whether it's allowable or not, it's never going to happen again. You're never going to get because it's such a large sum that ownership is going to do because there's nobody in their right mind who's worth $700 million.
Yeah.
Judge wouldn't do it, and that was a reasonable 360 comparison. And we won't get it with a certain person coming up.
So, I have a conspiracy theory about this.
Tell me.
So back in 2011 or so. So the NHL in 2004-05, they had the lockout that completely canceled the season. And then it took them a while to gain it all back. They did have a second lockout that only had half a season in 2013. And that was mainly over just the size of contracts, really, the size and length of contracts, because the Minnesota Wild had given big contracts to, I think, Zach Parise and I think Ryan Suter back then, and they were just massive 10-year contracts, and it kind of caused an upheaval amongst owners, like, oh, we need to limit this and stuff like that, and they changed the rules so you can't have big giant contracts like that in the NHL anymore. That's kind of like a synopsis from me. I kind of have to look back into it again to kind of see the ramifications of it. But regardless, that was the big fight over that. And I almost feel like that lockout was caused by the Wild owners to bring to light that so that they could force or justify a lockout. So my conspiracy is that the Dodgers are doing this right now, and it's a play amongst the owners, a collusion to get the small market teams, because now the Yankees are bulking up as well, to get the small market teams to make a fuss over, we can't have like these ridiculous contracts with these ridiculous deferments and things like that. We can't have any of this anymore. Look what happened with this. Look what happened with that. Bobby Bonilla, Chris Davis, like all these guys are getting all this money, and it'll cause those teams to kind of put it out there, use their PR teams to kind of have that out there as well. Oh, we can't have contracts like these. It's impossible. Families can't even go to games anymore because they're so expensive because these players get paid too much, that it'll cause the MLB to have a lockout, not a strike, a lockout. They'll be like, we can't, it's too much, guys. It's too much now. CBA is coming up. We're not going to renew. We want a salary cap. And they're going to try and force that. And I think it would be enough for them to do the nuclear option of canceling just one season in order to force the players to finally cave into a salary cap.
I can't have no Garrett Cole.
Well,
we don't want that world.
Well, but that's my conspiracy theory right now. This is a long game, by the way, but that's my, like, I don't know when the next CBA ends, but I would assume it only goes like every 5 or 6 years, right? Something like that. So
most parts like 6 or 7.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume around like 2030. That's a good time to just cancel a season. It'll be in the middle of this Ohtani contract. They'll look at it and be like, look at this. Look how ridiculous this was. Look at the Kansas City Royals. They can't afford nothing. And
because they just did the CBA.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
they just did it now, but I feel like they weren't willing to, have that
December
nuclear
1st,
option.
2026.
Yeah, they weren't willing to have that nuclear option because we were just coming out of the COVID and all that stuff. We're recovering from all that financially, but like 2026, yeah, they could look back on it and be like, we're gonna need something, and they might cave to a salary floor, the owners, but if they can get a salary cap, that's the ultimate long play right now.
And for baseball, I guess we are
Because
a
baseball
sports
has a
show.
luxury tax, I know that.
Yeah, and that's immaterial sometimes, right? But with baseball, a salary floor is actually important. It's so I'm not stuck seeing double A, triple A guys called up too early. The downside is those double A, triple A guys, because I don't think people realize how big the minors are through all three levels of it, is that there might not be no advancement. It might actually cause more international appeal because you're getting guys who, in theory, possibly could be starters on Nippon League and whatever else is popular. But that's the reality. But the thing is that a certain team, which I put in the chat to shit on Andrew 3, about like Tyler Glasnow going from the Rays because that ownership doesn't want to spend. First off, if you can't pay people, don't own a sports team. Do better stuff with your money. Go donate to a charity or something, right? Don't try to fulfill this sick fantasy that you have because you were bullied. But a floor is always important. It might lead to some people not being there, but competition is good for the soul. So international baseball appeal, hey, I can get behind it.
All right, Charles. And then the other big deal that happened. This was an actual trade, not a signing. Juan Soto finally made it to the Yankees.
I know it's a 1-year rental. I told y'all it's a 1-year rental. We ain't gonna get this young 25-year-old man to defer the 98% of his contract. Is it a sign to go all in? I don't know. An all in thing is giving him the 10-year deal, right? But it goes.
I would think all in would be you guys signing Yoshi
and Blake Snell.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with it. I want it. I remember a couple of years ago I said I don't know much about the Soto kid because he was literally just a kid when they won the World Series.
Yeah,
when he was 20,
like 19 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was consistent in San Diego. I don't think he's the downfall of everybody. Jace Tinsler and then Bob Melvin before Melvin bailed, and then their bad playoff teams. He has some good stats that we went over last week. I'm just happy because we have a guy to actually be the leader in hitting when inevitably Judge and Stanton go down. I don't think you guys understand. Our Gleyber Torres showed up, and we still might trade him, which I disagree. Don't do that. But for a while, the best hitters on that team was Giancarlo, Rizzo, sometimes Stanton, right? When he wasn't hurt, just on the homer logic. But we were stuck with all these things. And last year I had to deal with the trade for Josh Donaldson instead of not having Gio Urshela. Now I get Juan Soto. We just trade in pitchers. I'm like, screw it, right? If all they teach in the world of motherfucking Aaron Boone of, hey, dingers is all you need to do in baseball, then we got the dinger guys, don't we? Yeah. We got the dinger boys. I'm going to call them that, the club of dinger boys. Who's part of the dinger boy club? It is Aaron Judge. I had a brain melt there for a second. Whoa. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo when healthy, Anthony Rizzo, and Juan Soto. So It's like fine. I was thinking about including Gleyber or not because he's still got like that 20, but I just don't know if he's going to be on that team. And
it's going to be nice to see Soto in he's got the short porch, so I would assume his homer numbers will go up because San Diego is not a easy park to hit in as far as like distance and everything is concerned.
And you know what's great too? Everybody hated the fact that we got him, but we were the only guys actively getting him. Like we've been linked with him for a while. No one tried hard enough, and we gave up some prospects. But like I'm sick of the prospect argument if you don't call him up. But we didn't have to give up Volpe or Jason Dominguez. I'm like, this is a win, and we got rid of like a couple of pitching, like Yoni Brito, stuff like that. But if we sign, you got to think about how perfect this is. We let Luis Severino go, which is good. I hope he flourishes in New York with the Mets. Sure, right? I'm not a hater like that, but he wasn't doing us up and doing anything with us. And then if we let Domingo Yerman go, then it creates this vacancy of like, hey, we need some dudes. We should just sign some guys anyway. Let's do it. Let's just do it now. And then they'll do it, and I'll be happy. And that's all I want. Didn't that hat look perfect on Juan? You saw the picture. And the man, he should be a man of your heart. He was playing Nintendo with his friends. I bet he was playing Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe just like I
would like to know what he was playing.
I want to know. If he has the Twitter, I will ask him
usually the guys are like, yeah, I was playing Call of Duty and I was playing FIFA with my friends on my PS5. It's like, nah, he wasn't playing a Dude Bro game. He's playing a Nintendo console.
Yeah, right? He was probably playing Animal Crossing. He's like, all right, we're going to do this.
All right, let's go to my village, guys. I set this shit up. This is great. Yeah,
it's gotta be. That's one. I need it. I need this concept because it's perfect. And when New York eat him alive, I'm like, he's technically Dominican. He'll probably eat you guys alive.
Yeah,
true. Like it's over for you guys.
Yeah,
you can't do this one. We know the kind of guys like Garrett Cole, questionable, right? You don't know what you're getting. You don't get him. I'm like,
he did look very natural in the Yankees hat.
he did, because even when he does bad, he'll get. The junkies. If he does that, what's going to happen is like the little Tios and Tios like, I can't say man at you forever, man. But mira, you just got to stop striking out, man. What are you doing here? It's just going to go from there. Come on. Yay. It's a 1-year rental. But if we extend them, okay. It's not that I see it as a losing situation if we extend them. Can I tell you why? One, his production has not really dropped down in the couple of years he's been starting. That's one. Two, he'll be about 25 or 26 when the season begins. So henceforth, if he gets a 10-year, 11-year, presumably 12 years, probably what he will want, deal from us, that means it ends at 38. So it's in fashion to all these contracts that everybody gets till they're 40. You know who the real loser of all this is? Mike Trout. Mike Trout. Just, this is franchises who trade and sign free agents, and this is how it looks exciting when, over in Anaheim, they just didn't get anything out of it. And that's why Shohei left. And you should have left. I don't feel bad anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want you anymore, Mike Trout. I don't play with you. Because now I have my own multi-year American League MVP possibilities because Shohei left. And it could be either or. This is the greatest day of my life. The Charles Redo is coming.
All right, Charles. We're at 59 minutes. So let's do the word from our non-sponsors and the people and the places and things and whatever we've been enjoying over the last week. I'm going first.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you have two, go ahead, Charles. Or if you just got one, regardless.
I think I'll go with one.
All right, then. Well, I got one. Okay. So mine is Lotus Biscoff cookie butter.
What?
Oh, yes, Charles. So, Biscoff cookies, right?
Yes.
The ones you get on the airplane?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They make a cookie butter out of that. And I did not know that this was such a thing. I was at Fresh Market across the street from my job. And I was looking for lunch. I'm like, okay, let me get a Riker wrap or something like that. And I'm just kind of walking around because, I was looking for the sauce section because I like to dip it in the sauces that they sell there. And near, I don't know, I think I was gonna buy a pair of bananas, and then it was near the nuts aisle, and then near that is the peanut butter aisle and stuff like that. So I'm walking around, and then I see out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, oh, what's this? I see the Lotus Biscoff logo. I'm like, oh, okay, I see that on the airplanes. And it's a cookie butter. So they take Biscoff cookies and they turn it into basically in the same jar as peanut butter, right? But it's cookie butter. And my goodness gracious. This is good. I bought it last week. I've eaten the jar already.
I mean, look, I love those when I travel, when they actually show up.
Yes. Those they're very nice, but this is an actual butter, peanut butter, cookie butter they make out of it. It's about the same amount of calories as actual peanut butter. And actually, I think it's less, to be honest. This actually less than actual peanut butter. And they have a Go snack pack. I didn't know that. But I got the smallest version of this right here. of this, and it has like recipes on the top of it. I have to look at them,
I
but I
like how
mean,
the like back-to-back weeks we've had non-sponsors that require us to go in deep dive of how we would cook it.
yeah, and I didn't know that they had the recipes here, but that you can make a cheesecake out of it, and now I gotta tell this to my sister. And I was talking to my sister while I was doing it. I'm like, they got a cookie butter? And she knew already. She's like, yeah, you didn't know. I'm like, no, I didn't know. Well, it's something you shouldn't know. I'm like, well, now I know. It's too late now. And I stood there. I'm like, screw it. I'll get it. And yeah, I just kind of been, after workout, Charles, I just kind of been dipping the spoon in and having myself a little treat.
Excuse me, that's their treat. Look, a little sugar post-workout, kids, is good. It's good. You know, you need that glycogen so your muscles don't get depleted. Follow
So,
me more for workout facts as you get fat.
so they've got all the recipes here. You got bundt cake, cinnamon rolls, Swiss rolls, all kinds of stuff that you can make with Biscoff cookies. They're good. They're always a treat on the airplane rides. I don't, they have like the mini pretzels. Cookies are what it's at. That's for sure. Especially like you're flying American.
I
And
eat mini pretzels if that's the only thing that's available.
yeah, but it's really the only two things that they give you. Is
Yeah, well, the mini pretzels always taste stale.
Yeah, they're kind of a stale and like I don't know, they're kind of salty in the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's really it. And then you kind of pair it with whatever you're drinking. It's like but the Biscoff cookies, man. But they made of butter and it's good. It is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, promo code, need to know basis.
God, every discreet relationship in Miami, right?
Mm.
So I can finally do it, and it feels appropriate as this is our Goome Awards show that I use my non-sponsor for a game. You talk about burning the candle on both ends and hitting the 11th hour. This is the definition of it, right? Because what's the one thing that we know about me when it comes to games? I don't non-sponsor until I beat it. We've been burnt before. I've been burnt before. I don't want to put, as a man of the people, I don't want to put a people at a disadvantage. You understand this, Francisco. You're a respectable human too. And for the last like 12 days, I have been absorbing in a sequel basis. This has been a interesting year of video gaming for Charles. He hasn't been doing those modern day shooters. He hasn't been doing a lot of multiplayer for years, even though NHL has kind of taken me back a little bit. I've been doing some turn-based combat. It started with Mario Rabbids Battle Kingdom. It started with, I continue with Marvel Midnight Suns. And, I've done some Persona 5, but I haven't fallen in love with it per se. At some point, I think it's a little overrated, but maybe it's just a time and place. I was a different man a year and a half ago, right? However, it is December. What did I do every December, Francisco? It's obligatory. I always play a Mario game. Last 3 years was doing the Mario Super All-Star stuff that we were doing and 3D All-Stars. And this year we don't have that option, but I did have Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And that was my decision because Wonder will probably be like a Christmas gift. I as a 34-year-old attorney, I can buy whatever I want, right? So I just let the family just buy the one if they want, or anybody else gets like that one particular game. It's fair, right? I don't need it. I could buy it, but it's not like I'm beholden on backlogs. But I have to keep to tradition because you don't mess with tradition, as Wayne would say in Letterkenny. You don't fuck with tradition, I believe what they say. 5. So I played Mario. Mario. Hold on. No. Sorry, doing something Kirby. I was playing Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Going from there. Oh damn, I see where I messed up. Sparks of Hope. I started a couple days ago. It's the same kind of workaround to it. I think you've non-sponsored before in the past, where the Rabbids and Mario go to help out because there's an entity out there, and then they have to. Oh, there we go. Is that it? And they have to go. Oh, let me just pause this. I'm going to get to it too. They have to go help Lumas, who are now Sparks, because they're fused with the Rabbid DNA. You were wrong, though, because I remember when you non-sponsored it before, you said it doesn't really have much to do with the first story. It does, but it's just like bookend. Very well. But the combat is good. The graphics are slick.
I think I meant it more like it's not. You don't have to play the first one in order to get the second one.
Fair, fair. Good cast of characters. I like some of the changes they did in the gameplay. No longer are you dependent on different weaponry. You get the same weapon and style and technique. It's your sparks that allow you to have the modifiers in there. So if you want to use fire, if you want to have a healer, if you want to have a reflector of damage, if you want to summon an ally, I like that conduit. I like that concept. I like the aspect of it. You're still going to a team of three. I will say this. This is, you were absolutely correct though. This is a Rabbids game. It's not a Mario game. The only time it has felt like a Mario game was when you did the secret zones. You know what I mean? That's when it felt most like it. The story makes a little bit actually more sense because it's a sequel than the first one, but the first one was kind of like a tough pull. But it's just, I won't give into details, but it's you don't have to play the first one, but it's just more simple. Mario and his goons want to go help do some stuff, go from there. You know what the funny part is too is that I found diversity in who I played with as opposed to the first one because when you were very keeping everybody with their kind of class and their skill without having to change weapons, you can actually utilize Rabbid Luigi more. You can utilize Rabbid Mario more. I think in the first game, I really didn't use Rabbid Luigi that much or Rabbid Mario. But in this case, they were different because the Frisbee had more use to it. The Brawlers were good to it. The one who was actually ignored a lot here was Peach. And there's a reason. I didn't really use Bowser that much, but I think he came in a little bit late in the game, like the third world when there's only 5 worlds. 30 hours, guys, and 39 minutes. 8.5. But I was going to deduct half a point, but I'm going to keep half the point, and you know why. Ubisoft, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And this is not the hardest turn-based game out there. But you gave me the option to do invulnerability mode, which is basically God mode, which means you take no damage. And it allowed me to play sloppy, which thankfully I course corrected it in the fourth world, the fourth and the fifth world a little bit, the fifth world at least, and to the final battle, because your approach was the best way to put me back on track. Like, okay, if you're invulnerable, fine, but just play it as if you had, life still, which allowed me to be swift in my movements. But it's a dangerous game to do that because I need my brain to be challenged. And I think the tactical combats are the ones that would give me the most challenge, have my brain be stimulated. But be careful if you determine this, if you want to do it for future games. I don't know if I'm doing the DLC, and I'll tell you why. One, because trade-in bonus credits to Switch 2, right? That's a need. Mm-hmm. Two is because whereas the Donkey Kong stuff felt needed because you got to play as DK to continue Mario World, I don't have much love to Rayman, even though I played the Rayman games during the show. 3-4 years ago, we were doing the Rayman Legends or Origins. Rayman's a great character, but how do you want to do it? But if it was on discount because I missed the first round because I wasn't done with the game, then I would contemplate. But I think from what you told me was just basically skip the first two and just go to Rayman itself, right?
The first one, Tower of Doom, is kind of like I don't know. You're going up a tower. It's just different challenges, right?
Yeah, it's just a tower.
Nothing that any basis on story. The second one is made to be as if it was an extra world in the main game. Okay.
All right. Is that the last Spark Hunter?
Yeah, the last Spark Hunter. So it would have been like, okay, it is as if the story had like a director's cut of an extra planet, right? So that kind of, it feels like that. It's like something they probably would have had in the first game, in the first part of like the main game, had they had like, I don't know, like 3 months or something like that, just to have it in there.
Do it.
So because it's presented that way. It's presented as if, oh, this is just a stop that they made along the way of the main story to try and save Rosalina, right? And then the Rayman one is actually different. It's it's an actual storyline with Rayman himself, but like I said, if you don't have any connections to the character, there's some jokes in there about like how nobody knows who he is because he hasn't been in the game in like a decade. So like there's some jokes with that, but aside from that, if you don't have no connection to the character, and I've played Rayman 2 and Origins and Legends and stuff like that. I mean, I've played like he's only been like 5 or 6 games anyways. So
yeah, I mean, and Legends and Origins are actually some of the best third-party platforming games you can get there.
Yeah.
2D, I'm thinking. 2D platforms that's not Mario. Like I would actually want a new one.
Yeah.
We grew up in that generation.
Yeah, and Rayman 2 was one of like the premier 3D platformers as well. So, but like aside from that, he hasn't really been in much. So people don't really have much connection to this character compared to, like you said, Donkey Kong. So
Yeah.
it's not as required. And yeah, having the Phantom back is interesting. But
And we like the Phantom. Well,
but
the Phantom,
if you're really not into it, you can get your jollies, you can get your rocks off with that just by watching it on YouTube.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
played through
maybe
it. You can watch my gameplay of it.
yeah, follow his Twitch, guys. But I do appreciate the combat because I think it's actually intellectual when you're
Yeah.
just assigning who you
And
want to do.
Rayman does have an actual gimmick to his combat because
Which is good too.
he gets to use costumes, so he can kind of that's his way because there's no sparks in the game. There's no sparks in his mode. So it's interesting.
And one thing I'll tell people is that it's always on sale. It's worth the money. It's like $15 these days, or
Yeah,
20.
Ubisoft. Yeah, they'll do like, oh, get the gold edition for like $20. So, okay, that's with all the DLC, you know.
It's just one of those things where I want you guys to play it so I can get a third one. I played 2 of them this gaming year, and both of them have helped me kind of break my shell a little bit in the style gaming. Because let's be fair, 2024 doesn't really have a lot that's going to wet our whistle gaming wise. You'll see in a second of brand new games for us in comparison to some of the other things. And I was very appreciative to play this because I was always so like, oh, I don't know if it's my cup of tea. And what you got to realize, guys, if you don't know if something's your cup of tea, you drink the damn tea and just get it done. And so I was happy with it. I loved it. It looks good too on the Ubisoft engine, Snowfrost or whatever the thing that they had. It was slicker.
Frostbite,
the combat was better. Frostbite. It's better than how they did it originally for the first one. Ubisoft tends to make good products too. I mean, we always give them like crap for some games they've made, but I liked a lot. The Rabbids cute. It's kind of also a funny game. I did chuckle at certain things. I think they have some heart. The one thing I would contemplate if you're going to make a third one is I don't know how you top the threat of this current one. You know what I mean? Of what they had to deal with, and that's tough. But you know what? I would be all for a side solo game of Rabid Rosalina. Because I feel like, given the circumstances, she was your main arching Rabid character to work with. You know what I mean? Along with the other cast of characters. But if you're going to continue the process, you can do some interesting stuff with it.
I think the only way they could do a third one is if they lean into like the rivalry bit, where you have like Wario and Waluigi, and then you have Rabid Wario, Rabid Waluigi on the other end, being like that.
Yeah, it's just so tough though because of it's a downplay of the big threat and danger, you know.
Yeah, or I mean, it could start off as like a rivalry thing, and then they have to come together to defeat a bigger threat. That could be, I don't know,
a Rabid Ganondorf.
Yeah, something like that. Or,
but overall,
I mean,
sorry,
the Wario games can get. I mean, you can get weird with it too, because like the Wario games are weird. So maybe they could do something like just completely out of this world and just get weird with it.
Yeah. So anyway. Mario Rabbids 8.5. I'm not going to deduct to the 0.5 just because they made it easy for me because it was my choice and I still played it through. It's a great game. Go buy it. It's cheap. Promo code drink the tea.
All right. Okay. So hour 15, Charles. So let's just pop right into this. So the Game Awards happened, and these are an actual award show that we actually care about because it's it's just nice to see some acknowledgement of some of the great games that came out over the year, and just see what everybody else liked and what could be on the radar for us going into the future as well as these games, become older, they get deals and stuff like that. Because I mean, it's hard to play every one of these games every year, Charles.
Very true.
Yeah, it's just money wise, it's well, not for you. But money wise, time wise.
I'm a poor now. I'm one of you guys.
Okay. Yeah, you've exhausted your monies. But we're going to go through it and see all the categories. I mean, some of them we won't care about. But a lot of them we'll see. We'll see what the nominees are and just what we've heard of, what we've actually been able to play ourselves. If this thing can actually freaking type for me. And we'll go from there. So let's go one by one. So let's go to their official website. And hopefully it loads on me. Thank you. And let's go to the categories. So there we go. So we don't care about best esports event or best esports coach or team or athlete. I don't like the term athlete for an esports player. Just call them players. They're not athletes. Game or content creator of the year. That should be us. And I mean, okay,
give us money.
yeah. The most anticipated game is just a marketing category.
It's so subjective too.
Exactly. It's something that I feel like it's dumb because, like, that'd be like the Oscars having the most anticipated movie, or the Grammys having the most anticipated album. It's like we don't know when these are coming out, and it doesn't make.
It might even come out this year.
Yeah. That's like if the sports teams or the sports leagues had at their awards show most anticipated rookie coming up from like college ranks or whatever. Like, okay, we kind of already know that. That's what the draft is for. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got the winner here, followed by Hades 2, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. So
good to see Tekken still relevant.
I guess
because I forgot about that. I forgot about that shit 6 years ago.
Fighting game community, I guess. I guess Hades too, because a ton of people loved Hades, and I never played it.
Well, it's a roguelike. I'm interested into it, but yeah. Well, I mean, play Returnal. Let's talk about branching out.
And of course, I am interested in, of course, Infinite Wealth, and not interested in Star Wars, and not interested in Final Fantasy.
I could be interested in Star Wars. I like the games. I got Survivor. I just never pay full price for them for reasons, because there's always going to be something about it that's like meh.
All right, so and then best adaptation. This is like a very thin category, because this could be very thin or very like every year. I mean, just look at the candidates.
Fuck are you adapting? 7, like Rudyard Kipling's the
There's
Jungle
only
Book,
5
video game form.
There's only 5. You have
they're talking about a TV show.
Yes,
or movies.
Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. But I mean, this doesn't take into account like comics or anything like that, or books. So it's just okay. Did you make this to a movie or TV show? That's really it. So you're limiting yourself there, anyways.
Yeah, as somebody who has watched the Castlevania TV show, I got to finish season 4. Yeah, I got to start season 4. And watching the Onimusha TV show, I feel like it's kind of bereft. I mean, they have Nocturne. I haven't seen Nocturne yet. I know it's about Richter Belmont. But, the animated ones at least have a chance. We didn't see Gran Turismo. Mario movie was fun. It's not best adaptation. It is a quickest way to get a cash grab and make you enjoy it, at its own. Last of Us was not a good adaptation. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of saying it. If you've never played the game, it's a good adaptation. I played the game like 3 times or 2 times, so it could have been better. And what was the last one that I see on there? Dungeons and Dragons?
Twisted Metal.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I heard it was fun. But I never really played the Twisted Metal games as a kid, did you?
Well, because they haven't made a new one in like 15 years. So, yeah, it's been a long time. That's a weird one that they chose to adapt out of all of them.
Well, I have Samoa Joe, and we love Samoa Joe.
And Gran Turismo bombed, I think.
Maybe.
As well. So, people did not really take to that. Let's see. Best multiplayer. Let's see what we had. Baldur's Gate 1. Beat out
2024.
Yeah, beat out Diablo 4. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Street Fighter 6, and Party Animals.
What the hell is Party Animals?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of this. I think it's just like kind of like Fallout in a sense.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. The only game that I can speak to is Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and its multiplayer aspect is very unique, and I enjoyed it very much because it does save you in some levels, and it's kind of does feel nice to play with other people that you're not really bothering each other, but you're also helping each other. So its multiplayer aspect is actually really good. I think if you're playing Mario Brothers Wonder, you should turn on the online mode just to have that sense of community. Yeah. So,
It's just so weird that the multiplayer ones is the one they actually envisioned. They popped in was Street Fighter, the one that you actually makes more sense to me in multiplayer mode. Like I get it, I know where they're coming from with it. You know what I mean?
best sports game was Forza Sports and Racing. They put both of them, but Forza Motorsport beat out F1 23, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, The Crew Motorfest, and EA FC 24.
A lot of racing games.
Yeah, a lot of racing games. I haven't played this one yet, but I'm not really into the semi stuff, anyways. So it's just a lot of work. I heard Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 was really good.
Yeah, that's why I don't play Gran Turismo. I don't care about cars, guys.
Yeah.
You know, cars are supposed to hold my groceries and take me from A to B.
Yeah, that's why I prefer Need for Speed and the Horizon series is just basically like I mean, they have some aspects of that, but it's basically just arcadey. Just hey, here's the car, make it the color you want, and then go. And
Or plebeian, sorry.
Yeah, best sim strategy, Pikmin 4.
Yay!
Beat out Advance Wars. I never played Advance Wars either on the Game Boy Advance or the Switch. Company of Heroes, Fire Emblem Engage, and Cities Skyline 2. I have Cities Skyline 1, but I haven't given it a shot yet. But Pikmin 4, Charles, that sucked 35 plus hours of my life in the course of like a week.
And it will take about 35 on mine. I'm ready for it.
And my nephew absolutely loved it and has become a fan of the series now. And I got him Pikmin 3 for Christmas. So he's going to have all of them and have played all of them by sometime in the next year. So that'll be fun for him. But yeah, it's really good, man. It's Miyamoto's, I mean, sheesh, it's magnum opus, really. Best family game was Mario Wonder. I get it. It works. For 4 players, it works. Multiplayer, it works. Cool. Sonic Superstars.
Huh.
Yeah, it's Sonic, right? It's good for the family. It has a 4-player aspect, but I never played the multiplayer aspect of the game. And honestly, don't really need to. And from what I've read and seen, the multiplayer 4 people on one screen is kind of like, you remember playing Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 with somebody holding the second controller as Tails?
Mm-hmm.
It's that. Just make sure you can see yourself on the screen and keep up, or else you're just going to keep dying and returning back to the person that's ahead of you.
Well, when I play it eventually, because I did pick it up, I went for the tenner. I added the backlog, guys, but it was an offer I could not refuse because the saddest thing happened. I miscalculated my dates on a sale, and that's on me. That's on me. I missed out on Witcher 2, or I'm sorry, Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. Not that they don't go on sale, but it was like the right kind of sale for my thing. Witcher 3 was $15 for the complete edition. And remember, these things got PS5 upgrades and overhauls. That's what makes it enticing. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'll buy this now. And I missed out on Cyberpunk with that and its DLC. But they'll go on sale, but the moment might be gone. The good thing is that 2024 is kind of like a lame year gaming, so I might circle back to that. Continue.
All right, and Disney Illusion Island, which is like another 4-player Mickey game that I guess Illusion Island alludes to the like Sega Genesis Disney games with Mickey and Donald. So
I looked at them too. That one particular. I think I sent you some deals, but I don't want to pay $30 for it.
Yeah. Okay. Best fighting game was, of course, Street Fighter 6.
What else came out?
Mortal Kombat 1. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. And Pocket Bravery. I don't know what that is. And God of Rock. I don't know what that is either.
That's the problem. We don't know. I'm interested in Street Fighter 6 more than Tekken, but I think it's because they say this is supposed to be the most accessible Street Fighter out there, not just for the people who just crunch millions of hours. Look, I can't play this like a like King of Fighters or SMK or
any
Virtua
SNK
Fighter
game,
4,
basically,
or any game made by Arc. Systems.
Guilty Gear,
Guilty Gear or Grand Blues. Like I have Dragon Ball Fighters. That's like the last known fighting game I got, and it's great. But your boy suffers sometimes. Please spare me. I'm just a noob, even though I've owned it for 5 years. Like I bought that shit like day one, man. And it's just the amount of time. And Mortal Kombat wasn't gonna. We talked about it in the chat. I'm like, same stuff, man. I wasn't needing it. I'm over it. Like I appreciate actually for making a real legitimate storyline, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen the videos of the Mortal Kombat 1 storyline. Basically, Liu Kang reset the world because he got the thing from Chronica. I have no idea. A bunch of stuff. He reset the world, and everybody's got different roles with their same characters, but they have like different origins and stuff like that. Like a bunch of stuff. But anyways, best RPG went to, of course, Baldur's Gate. Beat out Final Fantasy 16 and Lies of P. And Starfield and Sea of Stars.
I feel like they need to recategorize that because those games might be RPG per se, but are they like there's turn-based RPG, there's action combat RPG. Lies of P is a different kind of game versus Seas of Stars versus Baldur's Gate. You know, it's only fair.
Yeah, and that was one of my kind of criticisms that they might have to go more, even more. Specific with some of these, because you have these next two categories. You have best action game and you have best action adventure game. So they just add the adventure aspect, and of course Zelda won that one.
Yes, it should. Listen, no.
So beat out Alan Wake, beat out Spider-Man, beat out Resident Evil 4, and beat out Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now you could speak to 3 of these, Charles, right now.
I think that's the reason why I wanted to delay Wake until 2024, because really going to have to make a lot of hard choices for my end. You know what I mean? It was a good year for gaming.
Yeah.
And Zelda is my game of the year. Like, spoiler, but nothing's changed, as I told you guys, since June.
Yeah.
I didn't play. I'll get to Baldur's Gate. I'll be weird. I'll be different. I'll try new stuff.
I have the first.
I promise you.
When it was releasing, they had the run up for it, and they gave out 1 and 2 for free, so they could get everybody to buy 3. So I have it on PC. I have 1 and 2, but it's gonna be hard pressed to get me to play an RPG game at this point like that. I have so many Western RPGs. I just haven't had the. I just don't want to get into them right now, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You have to really want it, and that's why, like I remember I was trying to force Persona 5, which is heralded as one of the best, RPGs out there. I'm like, yeah, JRPGs. I'm like, yeah. You have to have a time and a place for it. But, I am projected to be in a very vacant year of gaming the way I've been gaming. I sent you my yearly wrap-up PlayStation. I haven't looked at my Switch one yet. We eating good, as the kids say. Eating good.
See. So the best action game, but they kind of delineated as focused primarily on combat. So I guess that's the difference between the adventure game, which is just more of an aspect of like exploration of some sort.
Story and exploration, probably.
Yeah. So this is Armored Core won this one.
Didn't play it,
Yeah. So it's like the first Armored Core in forever to be released. So there you go. Didn't play it. Dead Island 2 was nominated.
Own it. That will be on the backlog.
Ghost Runner 2 as well. I have Ghost Runner 1. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, same.
Hi-Fi Rush, which I am interested in. I think it's on Game Pass. Maybe once I finally activate it, I'll play it. And then Remnant 2. Never heard of Remnant 1.
I think I own Remnant 1 for PS Plus.
Okay. VR game. We don't have a VR system. But Resident Evil,
deep dive.
Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 8 VR mode. And this is kind of, you have Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call, The Mountain Humanity, Synapse. So right now, I don't know what these games are. I know what Gran Turismo 7 is, but I guess that's just kind of like okay, if you have the PlayStation VR and you just want to play it on there and you can just see from inside your car, which is cool. That's something that makes sense for VR, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you played 8, right?
Yes, Village.
Yeah. I don't know what VR mode is. Is that like the full game? And you get to play it?
I believe it's the full game because I also did that for Resident Evil 4 as well.
Okay. All right, then. Okay.
I actually trust Capcom not to make it just, crap.
Okay. Mobile game.
You're the mobile gamer out of us.
I'm not really. Not really, but I don't know what Honkai Star Rail is. I don't know what Hello Kitty, Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, and Terra. I don't know any of this. I don't play mobile games. I'll play Sonic eventually, but on whatever, and just use my trial. So that's good for that. But debut indie game, which is kind of like their rookie of the year, I guess. Cocoon. So there's a lot of love for this. It's interesting. Pizza Tower, which I am interested in. I have to get this eventually, Charles.
We love pizza.
No, it's just Wario Land.
Pretty much, yeah.
Venba, I don't know. I don't know what this game is, to be honest. I see some brown people. Maybe it's a Latino thing. That's what I think it is. Viewfinder and Dredge. I have heard of. I have heard of Dredge as well. That's been getting a lot of love as of late too. And then best indie game in general, overall, was Sea of Stars. Which got
I heard great things about that.
Yeah, a lot of love this year. Dredge also. Dave the Diver was also getting a lot of love, and I think they're doing a collab with Dredge, so they're getting both of those games in one. Then Viewfinder and Cocoon. So, but yeah, Sea of Stars got a ton of love. It'll be on. I'll get it for free in like 3 years. So,
much, yeah.
So that's fine.
Well, those games never stay high price unless it's Nintendo.
Yeah. Best community support. Sure, it's like a customer service award, I guess. But Baldur's Gate won it.
I guess I was just thought it's a live service award for a second.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate won it. Cyberpunk was nominated. Disney 2.
I mean, can you really give it to you? If anything, you give it to Cyberpunk and be like, hey, we made a crap game, so we're redoing it now.
Yeah, we fixed the game. We made the game that we should have made.
And we made a 2.0 for it with Idris Elba. Love us.
Best ongoing, which is once again another live service thing. Sure, that was Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk won that one. And beat out Fortnite and Genshin Impact, Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14.
We've not played any of those, kids.
Yeah. I don't have time to live in those worlds. Because I can't... You have to just pick one of those. But even then, I don't have a chance to play the other stuff if I want to. So the only live service game I actually play, I guess Splatoon is categorized as one, right? You would think?
I just thought it's online multiplayer.
Oh, sure. Okay, fine.
Live service to me is I have to pay for skins.
Okay.
And trials.
So Rocket League would count as that. So that's my only one game that I do as that. And they have Games for Impact, which is like a progressive award. I tried Space for the Unbound's demo. Adventure style, whatever, adventure game, whatever.
Yeah.
Like storyline. These are all storyline stuff. But, just, progressive, hey, promote this cause or, put, end racism in the end zone.
You should just pay money to them.
Yeah. All right. Innovation and accessibility. So this is like just pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So Forza won this one. But yeah, with a game that customizes a lot. But Microsoft's actually been pretty good with releasing games that are like very customizable so that people can play the game if you have certain ailments or disabilities or things like that. They have an actual controller made for that now.
Sony has as well. I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't put so much the onus on the developers, if anything, who is making the systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also it's the developers too, because like.
Well, you could do developers like there's exhaustive ones like if you ever played like Last of Us 2 and stuff.
But it's something that's starting to happen now. Like you have colorblind modes and things like that never used to be in things. So that's Forza won that one, beat it Hi-Fi Rush, Diablo, Spider-Man, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter. So there's that. Best performance. So these are the actual actors or actresses. And that was won by Neil Newbon of Baldur's Gate 3. Beat out Yuri Lowenthal of Spider-Man. Who did he voice?
He voiced Peter.
There we go.
Yuri is like Peter for a lot of stuff. He was also Peter in Spider-Man Midnight, or not Spider-Man. He was Spider-Man in Midnight Suns.
Okay.
So it's his role essentially.
Okay. Melanie Liebert in Alan Wake. Idris Elba in Cyberpunk. And Cameron Monaghan in Star Wars, and Ben Starr in Final Fantasy.
Which, to comment on voice acting, it is harder to be a voice actor for gaming sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's why you have to be careful with certain things. Like, I think Rockstar City was a game that came out this year and has full set of class, including Chuck Norris. The voice actors themselves, I don't think they were the beneficiaries of the SAG stuff.
Oh,
but
okay.
if I'm not mistaken, but the whole thing is like you're voicing a lot of different characters, cadence, all this other things you have to practice on, but they're good. They're muy bueno.
Mm-hmm. And Idris got a lot of practice being Knuckles. So
Yeah.
there you go. Best audio design was Hi-Fi Rush. Beat out, so you can speak on two of these, Charles. Actually, three of them. Beat out Spider-Man 2, Dead Space, Alan Wake, and Resident Evil 4.
It's tough. I mean,
like Dead Space
audio design.
Dead Space
Yeah,
literally spooked you.
Yeah, Dead Space was good, and also when you kill things, you hear the squelchingness, of the internal stuff, the insides. Resident Evil 4 had good atmosphere. Spider-Man was just more. I can understand Spider-Man not get it for the audio design. It's fine. Some people when they're tribalism like, oh, Spider-Man didn't get anything. I'm like, okay, you guys gave it 8s all across. I give it like a 9. There was a couple 10s there, but audio design's tough. Audibly, because how are you also hearing it? Is my question. Are you listening to it predominantly headphones, or are you listening also to a television?
Yeah,
but if you're talking about
actual stereo sound in your surround sound in your room.
If you're judging it as listen to audio base for the actual gameplay components, then
that's how I think of it. I think of
anything
it as
horror related. Anything horror related should win, right?
Yeah. And I mean, 3 of the 5 were those.
Yeah, who won it again?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, well, I heard that was good. That was for all the things. So it's a skate game.
Yeah,
essentially, it's how I classify it. It's just that Radio's successor. Isn't it made by the people who did Sunset Overdrive?
It's I think so, but it's Bethesda. Well, it's Microsoft, really. Yeah, and all of it's Microsoft, but yeah.
I give it to gaming. I give it to the games that are horror based. That's all I could say.
All right, now best score and music went to Final Fantasy 16
on the backlog.
Yeah, beat out Hi-Fi Rush, Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake, and Zelda.
Zelda has a fantastic soundtrack. I this is biasness because I have not played one.
With Zelda, the soundtrack is just that. Yes, it still has like the the peaceful atmosphere, like just the sounds of the environment in the games.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment you get to moments of like impact in the game, especially like boss fights, stuff like that.
Colt Garrett's theme, baby.
Yeah. It hits, or Ganondorf's Suavemente comes on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. When it becomes a certain draconian demon, or the Die for Love, which I just love it so much. That I don't know, and I just haven't played the Final Fantasy game, so I'm trying. And that's the thing, we're all just trying to be like as objective in this, but we did play some of these games.
Yeah.
So allow us to have those moments, but man, Zelda was. Could we just not give it to Zelda for everything, right? Only for a few.
Yeah. Best art direction was Alan Wake.
Ah, baby.
And so we haven't played it yet. It beat out Mario, Zelda, Lies of P, and Hi-Fi Rush. I can only speak to 2 of them, but we know of the people who make Alan Wake, and basing it off of what they've done in Alan Wake 1, but especially what they did in Control, right? Mm-hmm. Control's art style, or just its environment, everything like that, is unconventional that you don't see in video games
at all.
And so Alan Wake goes deeper into more of the horror element of that, which
I heard is legitimately terrifying.
Yes. Man. So now with the power of these current consoles, that you couldn't get it in Alan Wake 1. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As far as Mario Brothers Wonder, since I'm the only one who's played through it, yes, Nintendo finally gave the Mario 2D series some actual life, because it was very sterile with the new Super Mario Brothers games. And now, I mean, that was one of the things that playing through it, they were more cartoony. They were more involved with, like, their facial expressions, their voices, the sound, the enemies, the art style itself. They kind of felt like they were claymation at some points, right? It was really nice when they start tripping balls. And you see, like, all the wacky stuff is happening with the colors and everything like that. It was very nice to see. It was refreshing for the first time in a long time for a Mario game like that. And then, I mean, Zelda, they took what they did in Breath of the Wild. They just did it better.
On steroids.
Yeah, everything was just better. Everything meant something. Everything they didn't have to account for the Wii U. Like, they just could go all out with it.
Finally, it was the only true Zelda Switch game.
Yeah. And
Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Mild, right?
Just legitimate points of, like, just being down there in the caverns.
Mm-hmm.
And being stuck there underground, like, legitimately kind of creepy, is dark and whatever, but you still never got sick of being down there. It never felt bland, to be honest.
Or you forget one other cool thing about it. Just being on a dragon's back, man.
Yeah. So,
scaling it.
But the art direction itself, just the style and everything like that. But, we're running up to Alan Wake, Charles. I'm playing Quantum Break tomorrow. We're starting.
He's excited.
All right. Best narrative went to Alan Wake as well. And this is almost not fair to the other games, because this is something that's being built over
a narrative that's going to have us being Pepe Silva probably for a good 3 months.
Yeah, and it's not finished. Like, this is a narrative that continues and is a lot of moving parts going with it. Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, and Spider-Man lost out to this, but I'm getting ready for it. It was beautiful to see people acknowledge this game, but we're gonna keep going now. So, because I'm running time here. So, best game direction went to Alan Wake as well. Beat out Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man, Mario, and Zelda. So, Sam Lake and the crew at Remedy beat out 2 Nintendo games. One of them probably the best one Nintendo's ever made in their entire history of the company.
All right, I got breaking news. You've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right?
Yes.
All right, so Andre Bauer died.
Is that the captain?
Yep, Captain Holstead.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hate to do that show, but we love that show. Oh, I hate this.
Oh, well, this sucks. Oh, man. Okay. Well, let me continue this, because I wanted to get into this, but
You're the Francisco is really dead.
Yeah, well, we're coming towards the end here. But Alan Wake 2, but just like the folks at Remedy, Sam Lake, I mean, they put on the actual Herald of Darkness in front of everybody. And Sam Lake being up there, dancing in it as well. And I think this is his coming out party for everybody. People don't realize who he really was
at all.
But everybody's on notice now that he's up there. Now he's not a game developer. He's a writer. So you see him like, I'm not a bookie man, Charles, but you are. You are. And you see him writing, like, he's an actual writer. He reads books. He gets inspirations from all sorts of stuff.
He was the model of Max Payne because the budget was so low.
Yes. And he's in charge of all the lore and everything that's going into all of these games to make sure they're interconnected and they have some sort of underlying theme or mystery to them, and I'm watching the lore videos and how much he's pulling from all sorts of different concepts of the supernatural across fiction and history. So putting all of that into Alan Wake, I can't wait to see it. I have not spoiled the game for myself just yet, Charles.
Yeah, that's good.
So
I haven't really either. I just know of a cameo appearance.
right. So there we
That's all I
go.
can say.
And finally, the game of the year was Baldur's Gate 3. Beat out Alan Wake, beat out Spider-Man, beat out Zelda, Mario, and Resident Evil 4.
What a good year for gaming.
Yeah, you played 3 of these.
Mm-hmm.
I played 2 of them.
Hey,
So yeah,
Yeah.
great year. So that is we're at 147. So, but we'll do a smaller version of this, the Goome Awards, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the end of the year. I think we've pretty much exhausted most of the games that we're going to play. I still have 2 more to beat to get to 100. And I have it specifically planned out. Quantum Break to further get into the dive deeper into this Remedyverse, Charles. And then I'll finish out with my other boy, Kojima, because he didn't show up. There were trailers. We didn't talk about the trailers, but we won't have time.
Yeah, we don't.
But there were trailers. But I mean, of all the ones that were announced for, I mean, most of these are coming out in 2025.
Yeah.
Anything that stuck out to you, like OD, right, with him and Jordan
I
Peele?
don't have an Xbox, so I'm gonna pass on it. But Dragon Ball
right.
Budokai or Sparking Zero.
Oh, that's right, new Dragon Ball fighting game.
Yeah, so there you go. I like Dragon Ball as a series. It's enjoyable. I like Tekiachi. We'll see if it's there. Monster Hunter Wilds intrigued me. I can never ever pull the trigger on it, but it just looks so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
God of War Valhalla, which is gonna have me
Update.
re-downloading.
Mm-hmm.
It's the roguelike, Sony Santa Monica's play onto it, and it's gonna have me re-downloading it. Maybe I'll do it on the back end in December. Because the good thing about the PS5 is I just transferred over the data as opposed to deleting and installing. It's free. It's supposed to be the epilogue of God of War, which was my game of the year last year of 2022. I know I'm base. What can I say? Sorry, guys. I don't really remember the rest. I know there was some stuff I sent you, like, we saw Blade and things like that as Intrigue by Arcane. But with all that being said, I'm sure it's fine. What about you? You watched more of it than I did, I think.
I mean, not really. I did see some of the stuff, but mostly like indie games, things like that. Sure, and then I don't care about any of the future Final Fantasy stuff or anything like that. I mean, the only thing that stuck out to me was that Sega's bringing back some classic franchises.
Yeah.
So we're getting 5 of them. We're getting Crazy Taxi. We're getting Jet Set Radio. We're getting freaking Golden Axe and Streets of Rage. And what was the last one? Panzer Dragoon? Are we getting that?
I don't think it was Panther. I think it was just that she listed.
Okay, something like that. But just some actual. We didn't get Space Harrier, right? Because I think
you would hear. If you gave me a 2.5D version of Space Harrier, I'm in like sin.
What if it was on the PSVR? Would you get that, Charles?
I would puke, but yeah, probably.
Running through your wall into the fantasy zone.
You guys should understand my love of Space Harrier at this point.
I can see Space Harrier as a VR game. I think that makes the most sense because it's basically what it is. It's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and Sega's hinting at more. Now, these don't look like they're gonna be full on like AAA stuff. Obviously, like that's Sega puts their money on Yakuza and Valkyrie Chronicles and Sonic. Now they're putting money in Sonic for once. So they don't really. Football Manager, that's like the other thing. So, but yeah, it's nice to see Sega going back to their old self and trying to see. And, hopefully it means something good. We won't get a crappy Shenmue game because we're not doing that. Bayonetta is theirs technically, so we got that last year. And we'll see if they dip into more of their franchises. I'm hoping maybe we'll see a Panzer Dragoon. Maybe we'll see Knights or something like that. Something.
Ooh, Knights would be interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, Knights. I mean, it only came out on the Wii, and that was fine. It was fine. The Knights one on the Wii was fine.
I remember the Knights on the Virtual Boy.
Yeah,
That's how old we are.
The Saturn, Sega Saturn.
Uh, no, I think they had like, or maybe
No.
there was a VR component as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of them had games, unless I'm getting confused with another one.
You might be confused with a different game, but regardless, Sega's doing that, so that's cool. So hopefully they'll surprise us. I think they mentioned Seaman for some stupid reason. I'm like, we're not getting a Seaman game. That'll be fun if they did.
Yeah. I don't want Echo the Dolphin.
Sure, Echo's fine. He had a 3D game. That was like the last one that he did. That I had on the Dreamcast. It wasn't bad at all. It was actually one of like nicer looking games. Okay, so we're at 152, Charles. So let's see. Any of these categories do you want to kind of name or through like really like?
I'm just gonna give you my top 5.
Sure. All right. Top 5 games of the year. Let's go with that.
And
I think that makes more
top
sense.
Top 5, and then I'll give you like worst game I played. Meaning worst game doesn't mean that it was like terrible, but because I have the list, so I have it completed.
So what's the kill count right now, Charles? How many have you beaten now that you beat Rabbids today?
Are we counting DLC?
No.
Right, give me 1 second.
I mean, you can mention it.
4,
Sure.
5, 6, 7.
I beat the Maneater DLC, and I guess
I'm counting Horizons. I'm counting Horizon Burning Shores DLC because that was like 11 hours.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So if it's like a long DLC, sure, let's count it. Because I got Maneater as one of the DLCs, and that lasted pretty well, like a long while.
So in total, it's 23 games as of today. I'm not counting the Borderlands DLCs because I beat 3 of the 3 of them that I had left. Thank you, COVID, right? That I had left, and I'm not counting Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC because it was only 5 hours and 53 seconds.
Okay.
Or through 53 minutes. So it's 23. Of the 23, I'll just list out some of my Game of the Year stuff. Zelda's already been Game of the Year as one. You guys heard it. It was there. It was great. 105 hours, and it never dragged. When I was done, I was done. When I was full, I was full. When I was fed, I was fed. I have listened to the soundtrack as of last week. I've still listened to it. Kogara's final boss battle was great, as was Draconian, Daddy Dorf, and The Fall of Love. It's just fantastic. Play it. I know it sounds basic, but you will love it. Caverns, I did not expect to love it as much as I did. Combat's so much better. I love making goofy shit. 9, just a fantastic game, truly. Like generational top 10 for me. So that's 1. I'm giving Spider-Man 2 number 2. Those final 5 hours are fantastic. I loved it, as you heard me rage about it before. Is it more of the same? Yeah, but the story really kind of guides you. The performance guides you. There's some oh hell yeah moments into it, and that's really what gaming is all about. Not like not to play a truly constructed game. It's about having that oh hell yeah moment, and I did have that. I was very satisfied with it. Number 3, as I'm going on my list to verify, because sometimes the problem is what the best game of the year, but what's your favorite game that you played? That's the problem with some of the stuff, and we're not counting the remasters we're not counting the stuff that I replayed the second time, like the Spider-Mans. Number 3, I'm going. This is tough here, but I gotta make it into it. I'm gonna give number 3 to Sifu, and the reason why I'm giving it to Sifu over Resident Evil 4, and Resident Evil 4 is gonna be 4, is because I knew what I was getting out of Resident Evil 4. So its score is really based off the technical value of it and the changes they made. Sifu was, I saw it on YouTube at the Game Award, and I said, I want to play that. That looks cool. That looks interesting. That looks fun. I bought it last Black Friday. I played it around May, right before we got Zelda, as a palate cleanser, and I loved it, and I double beat it basically because it was the basic ending and the true ending kind. It took 15 hours. I've gone back to it at times during the show, but Slow Cat made something fantastic. Soundtrack's also great too. Combat's intuitive. The whole story. You're young, and then as you die, you age up, but you play the game until you hit a final age around your 70s and go. Boss battles are engaging but infuriating, but once you figure out the pattern, the moves, everything like that, it's just great. It was art, direction, style, sound, fantastic game. I'm going to give it to 3. Resident Evil 4 gets number 4. I've mentioned about all these games I've non-sponsored, so it makes sense, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. It was a great remake. I will replay again. I will replay it next October. I will enjoy it. I love Leon. He's my favorite of the main characters. Combat's good, satisfying. The changes they made, I don't hate. I enjoyed it a lot. I like it. It was fun. It was great. Soundtrack's fantastic too. Number 5's the tough one because I think I've been playing like a hybrid with you on it of like what I should put in. And 5 could be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It could be, I'm looking at the list because it's in front of your phone. It could be Midnight Suns. Could be Dead Space remake. I don't think it'll be either the Mario Rabbids, unfortunately. I think Sparks of Hope suffered from me like dumbing it down a little bit to make myself invulnerable. Number 5 is really for Kirby the Forgotten Lands is a sneaky one. Could be. I think people underestimate how good it is. But you know what? I'm looking at Midnight Suns. I played the DLC. I put 68 hours into it. Dead Space, I'm going to drop it down a little bit, partially because it was on Spooky Season. It's a good game remake, but it dragged. 5 is actually the toughest one. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Bayonetta 3 will not get 5. I liked it, but, there's some things there. I think
some
Francisco...
issues with it being the Switch.
I shouldn't play a game that makes me go and say, hey, if I played it on a PlayStation 5, it would be fantastic, right? I think that kills anything. I'm going to give 5 to Midnight Suns.
Okay.
I think it kept the Marvel love. It had characters that you wanted. I liked combat because it was turn-based, card-based system.
Yeah, you're playing as like a dating sim in a way.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just trying to smash Peter Parker, right? The entire time. Peter Parker and then whoever the other one was I was trying to get with. But it was enjoyable. It was engaging. Unfortunately, I don't know if it made enough money to sponsor a sequel, but I encourage you guys to play it as you're trying to break out Halo stuff. And it helped pioneer the frontier of it. Had Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope not had God mode, I think I would have put it at 5. I think it has competition 6. I kind of want to put Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, though.
So what would be, what would you give honorable mentions to?
Honorable mentions, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Okay.
I liked it. You know what? I'm replacing because I'm going to give the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I think it's because it was short, 14 hours. I'm going to put that as number 5. Honorable mentions would be because sometimes the technical score doesn't beat it out. But it's about having fun. If I go, oh hell yeah, and it was a good Ratchet and Clank game. Honorable mentions, we'll give it to Midnight Suns. I will give it to Sonic Frontiers as an honorable mention. It was probably a game that, if you like Sonic, you're going to love it. There's ideas that leave it to be desired, but it's around the $30 range, and you should probably get it. I'm going to give a weird honorable mention. Oh, no, I forgot Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 is 5. There we go. I'm looking at this. Sorry. The two that I mentioned, yeah. The honorable mentions do go to Ratchet and Clank and does go to No More Heroes, Yakuza 0, the origin story of Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima, or Majima Goro, I don't know how they say it, because it's a different inflection of how they say last names. Combat's good, a little long in the tooth, good minigames, has Space Harrier. Goro, you really feel it. You feel Majima's pain, basically. And then Kiryu, especially with that trailer I saw for Infinite Wealth, was something. Fantastic game. Honorable mentions, Midnight Suns, Sonic, Ratchet and Clank, Ripped Apart. And then one last one that I'll give you, because it could be a little bit weird if you want something simple, but you want to help a developer get more money, like Sam Lake. You could always consider No More Heroes 3. Get on the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4. And there's that. I will give you like my least ranked game, but I still enjoyed it. And that would be Scarlet Nexus. Technically, it was a 6.5 on my level. Some people have it higher, some people have it lower. It's very in between. It has elements that I liked into it, like the combat, but it had a twofold story. It had that one character who was like, "What is your workout regime?" That made me laugh. Yeah, basically me. It's not bad by any means. It's one of those average games that sometimes gets a spike up of interest, and then sometimes it kind of like falters. And then the problem is that it's like a J action RPG.
It's on sale right now. It's been on sale for quite a bit.
Yeah, but there was parts of it where I'm like, what the fuck's going on? 10, so that was the whole thing. But I enjoyed it. So, contemplate that. Those are my selections. What about you?
All right. Well, I already know the worst game I played this year, and that was Homefront.
Yeah, that was a dark time for you.
Yeah, Homefront made me just kind of burn out on video games just because of how bland and terrible it was. It's like, it was THQ like at the end of their lifespan, when they were just trying to do the popular shit. 3. I've actually been pretty good this episode. So it just completely sucked the soul out of me. Honorable mention, Beyond Blue, because it brought life back to me from Homefront. A legitimately very beautiful looking game. It's about science and deep sea and ocean conservation and things like that. Just you can just kind of dive into that world. It has a photo mode, so you can take photos of all the animals and everything like that. Just really nice, a nice palette cleanser from that for sure. Let me go back to this list. Come on, why is this? Hold on. It reset my thing. Beyond Blue is
This is out of 98 games, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, this is 98 games. I played a lot of retro stuff, but another honorable mention will be Alba, A Wildlife Adventure. There's also another conservation. I don't know why I played these types of games, but I guess I just want to save the environment this year. Conservation game. Basically, it's like a little Pokemon Snap in a way, where you're this girl, you're on this island, you're taking photos of the animals and trying to prevent the big company from tearing down the environment and things like that, and you expose them. So that's great, and you expose corrupt politicians as a little girl, and it was just nice. It was a nice way of having that sort of thing. So there's a game for impact. There you go. That's that. And I guess let me give one more honorable mention. I guess I'll give this one to man, I'm flip-flopping between what would be number 5 and what would be the honorable mention.
It's tough, yeah.
But you know what? I'll give it to
5 gives you wiggle room. You can choose one that you was not the most technical.
Because we know,
game, but
okay, number 1 is Zelda. The number 1 game of the year is Zelda. Zelda made me feel. I still think about going back to it, but I know that I cannot. That my time there is done. Nintendo's time there is done because they're not making a sequel to it. They're not making DLCs. Whatever the new
We're getting the
Zelda-based
game.
We're gonna get something different.
She's gonna be the protagonist. I'm ready for it.
We're done with that. So that world is over. Like the most I see is gonna be like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Deluxe for Switch 2. Coming out like the first month or so when it releases. That's the only thing I will see. So that would be number 1. I guess number 2 game. Gosh, man, there's so many that I've played this year, but I guess at number 2, I could give it to. You know what? Let's give it to Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
It compelled me to 100% it.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% of that game. I don't 100% games much anymore, Charles.
I 100% Spider-Man. That's why I gave it number 2. So I understand. It's like we have something in common there.
So, as much as it's not as I guess you would say it's not as challenging as like the last levels of like Super Mario 3D World, like the secret levels that they have there are insane. Yeah. But it was still. The uniqueness of all the levels, they all had some sort of gimmick to them that made not a single one of them feel like, okay, I'm just playing the same one of this world, except now it's just a little this, like in New Super Mario Brothers. This one felt like every level had a unique aspect to it, and you just really wanted to see what was next. And so that was it for Super Mario Brothers Wonder. At number 3, I'll give it to. Man, this is quite the list, Charles.
And you see, unlike you, I update it every time I beat a game to you. Like I'll send it to the chat. So Francisco's shooting from the hip, guys.
Well, it's not that I'm shooting for the hip. It's just that there's a few that, like the flip flop at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So if not, we'll flip flop for 5 and 6. But it's either Sable or Yoku's Island Express.
Yep.
So Yoku's Island Express is a pinball Metroidvania. It's a pinball like adventure style Metroidvania that surprised me. I beat it in one shot. It's a 6-hour game-ish, but there's some extra stuff you want to go a little deeper with it. But it was just very well crafted for an indie game, man. Just the art style was great. You're like this little beetle, and you have this ball, and you just try and save this area that you're in. It's just a nice, wholesome game. And then Sable was the precursor to Zelda, because it has the same mechanic of, okay, well, You go around this big open land and you explore and everything like that, but it's a spirit journey. That's the whole point. It's a coming of age, rite of passage type of game. You're like a teenager, and you have to go out and find your calling in life. So you're tasked to go out and explore. You have to leave your village and go out and find out whether you want to continue living with your family in your village and just want to live life with them, or you decide, hey, I found this calling and that's what I'm going to be. And you collect masks, a little bit like Majora's Mask in that sense, but you collect masks and then you choose which of these things do you want to be. Do you want to be a superhero? Do you want to be a farmer? Do you want to be a whatever, a security person? Like you find out and you help people along the way. There's no real combat in the game. It's not about that. It's just the exploration and just, you know, doing puzzles and talking to the characters in the game. So that was it was a nice game to have that sort of feel to it, man. Just games of feeling, right? Pikmin 4 is definitely at like 3. It might even be number 2. Might even put it ahead of Mario, because man,
You had a strong love affair.
it was like an addiction, man. I was an addict, and I basically relapsed like crazy, like hard, because Pikmin 3 came out on the Wii U like a long time ago. Probably like a decade ago or something like that. So it'd been a while since we had the last Pikmin game. And you know, you see how much you improved the game. Like my nephew's playing Pikmin 1 and 2, or Pikmin 1. And he's like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm like, yes, it's a GameCube game. There's a lot of things you can't do. And just how much they've improved it since the first one. And it is legitimately one of the most polished franchises Nintendo has. Like each game just keeps getting better. And that's very hard to do. Especially after 3. 3 was a pretty good game. That was a tough act to follow, and they found a way to do it. So, yeah, Pikmin 4. I also have to give my boy Sonic needs some love. Sonic Superstars. There's a few songs in that game that are legitimately some of the best Sonic music of all time. Charles, are you there? Can I hear you?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, sorry. I thought I lost you again.
No, I'm giving you the platform.
Sonic Superstars has some legit. Charles, listen to Lagoon City Act 2 and Lagoon City Zone Act 2. That is one of the best songs in Sonic. It's up there. It's like a top 10 now. It's gorgeous. The Act 2 from Bridge Island Zone is also really good. There's some that are iffy, but the mechanics of it, sure, there's some things, but it was still very solid. I 100%ed it too. So you got 2 games that compelled me to 100% it. So that definitely earned you a bunch of points there, right?
And what people need to understand is you're very tough on Sonic Superstars. You almost dissuaded me from not buying it.
I
understand where you were coming from.
Yeah. Mind you, this is the pantheon of 2D Sonic games that I'm comparing it to. So, and that pantheon includes my favorite game of all time, which is Sonic 3, which is very, very hard to go up against. So, but Sonic Superstars is up there. It's Sonic 3, it's Sonic Mania, it's Sonic 2, and I would say Superstar kind of falls in there at like number 4 or maybe number 5. Sonic Advance 2 I think is better than in some ways. So it is it's legitimately a good game. The multiplayer aspect is not really needed. So there you go. And yeah, I guess that's my 5, Charles. Yeah, that is. That's my top 5 games. It seems very like, oh yeah, this is a very Francisco top 5 for sure. A lot of Nintendo and Sega there. But I do have my indies in the honorable mentions. Indie games should definitely be part of your radar there, and I had 3 of them there, and one of them made the top 5 anyways. So I played a lot of them.
Express, if you speak highly of it.
I got through FPSs. I got through 6 this year, right? So if I had to give it to one, Charles, of the six, because you were kind of compelling me, you were pushing me there to give these out or to try them out, really. Out of all of these, we'll give it to Far Cry 3.
Right, fair choice.
So, I played some pretty good ones. I played Half-Life, right? I'm halfway to being a real gamer and, worshiping at the altar of Lord Gaben.
Newell.
Yeah, Lord Gaben. So we're almost there. We're almost there, Charles. And I did play Perfect Dark and GoldenEye and Titanfall 2. So, yep, that's the Goome Awards, everybody. We did it. Charles, this is the last cage of the year. Are you ready?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everybody, to your weekly Trueplex The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance about men and women being the holy hell of each other, chasing championships, establishing their legacies. Just doing this all for my entertainment. It's a little bit of a soap opera. It's a little bit of a Carney show. It's a little bit of anything that engages me to want to watch it. And it's going to be a rather different cage because on PTO, I kind of faded away a little bit of what the hell was going on. There was NXT Deadline that happened this weekend. I gave you some predictions for it. I've yet to watch it, but I know it kind of happened. So maybe I'll watch a few, as I'm cooking in the background or something. Maybe I'll watch a few going from there. Yeah. We have the Continental Classic in AEW. That is finalizing. Remember, winner gets a title shot at MJF. No, they don't get that anymore. What do they get? They get a new title, like the Continental Championship, but Eddie Kingston have put on his New Japan Strong Openweight and his Ring of Honor World Championship title chance going from there. And then WWE is doing stuff because there's no December pay-per-view. Everything's building to the Rumble. They have listed a day one special TV episode of Monday Night Raw, which used to be a pay-per-view, so that'll be interesting what to go from there. A lot of different stuff, but let us get it focused a little bit, right? I'm going to try to keep it preserved and short in time, not because I want to kick you guys out, just because, I don't think there's much to harbor on. But Deadline was this weekend. They had the Iron Survivor challenges that came through. The Iron Survivor stuff is where you have like 5 men and women entering in and, not at the same time, 2 separate matches. And there's penalty boxes and all this other stuff. I have skipped, you'll laugh, I have skipped like the last 2 years of the Iron Survivor challenges because I've always been busy doing stuff. So I've never actually seen it play in full. So I won't speak to it, even going to the instructions. But on the card, Axiom beat Nathan Frazier. These two have some history. It's time to call up at least Axiom, let Nathan Frazier kind of expand a little bit in NXT and then let Axiom kind of go from there. Don't really need any heel turns, in my opinion. Dragon Lee on SmackDown beat Dirty Dom Mysterio, the NXT champion, for the NXT championship. Dominic is also on Raw. So what are we doing here? Right? We're not giving an NXT title to someone who's in NXT. It could be cross-branding it. Maybe you're doing it for licensing rights and merchandising rights, but you already, and also TV rights, but you already have people putting in bids. I think NXT is going to CW, if you remember correctly, in 2024, and SmackDown's coming to USA. Did we have it a little bit on Raw in order to have Raw with its media rights when it gets purchased? You already got CM Punk and Cody Rhodes there. I don't agree with it. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I know it's sometimes in wrestling, championships are an award for being a good soldier. Dragon Lee has been excellent since he came onto the main roster, been putting in some great matches. He had a good Survivor Series showing against Santos Escobar. I almost said Pablo Escobar. Maybe that's a little bit of the Colombian in me talking. Didn't watch it, but I will at some point. But good for him. Blair Davenport won the Women Iron Survivor Challenge. She gets a title shot against the current women's champion, Leo Valkyria. But then Cora Jade returned from her hiatus to attack, Leo Valkyria and say the title shot is hers. Why are we doing this? I understand. I'm not a Blair Davenport fan. I don't hate wrestlers or anything like that, but I just don't connect or resonate with her. But why are we going to diminish her victory by having a returning star who I'm also not crazy about and challenging? If someone just won a contenders match, it kind of undercuts that person who won it, right? That's like saying, hey, it's a Francisco centric episode because we're going to talk about hockey and I just gear it towards my love of Juan Soto and Will Levis. It just doesn't fit for me. Carmelo Hayes defeated Lexis King as expected, but did have a nice little payoff because, as you know, Carmelo Hayes is boys with Trick Williams, Trick Daddy, Big Trick Willie. And Trick was attacked a couple months ago. They're pulling off that old storyline of who attacked Trick. Was it his best friend Carmelo? Probably was. And Lexus King was taking credit. But after Lexus lost, formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr., he picked up the mic and said, "Hey, Carmelo, I didn't, attack Trick. I just want to get on this whole PLE, the pay-per-views that they call them now. So thanks for that." So he hustled him. So I respect that a little bit, right? They'll continue the story. And then Ilya Dragunov beat Baron Corbin for the NXT Championship. Baron's been doing some decent work, I would say, over in NXT since he got down there. Ilya Dragunov is just a stud. We know I love him. Watch his match with Gunther, the two of them. Kiana James defeated Roxanne Perez. I'm surprised. I didn't know we were doing that. I didn't know that happened. Izzy Damaria smashed the cage during the Okay, so they're having a feud within a feud. Okay, that made sense because I just saw that result for the first time. Can we just call up Roxanne Perez? I don't know if she's ready or not, but we have to sometimes do that. And I think the women's division could, the main roster, utilize it because the men's division is pretty stacked. Trick Williams won the men's Iron Survivor Challenge match. She will get a title shot against Ilya Dragunov. They have a little bit of history. Carmelo Hayes came out at the end of his victory, looking him on. We're going to have that good old Trick versus Carmelo, family versus family, boys versus boys kind of vibe. And I am here for it. AEW Continental Classic. It's been going on. Okay, I haven't had the chance to really watch anything. I always say Wrestle Dream because it's a new pay-per-view, but World's End is in December in like a week and a half, I think. Let's verify this so I can at least give you some predictions. The card's not going to be done, but I would be
December 30th at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island.
And I don't have much, and that's MJF's, hometown. The only the match I know that's guaranteed is that he's going against Samoa Joe. And as much as I would love for Samoa Joe to win, I don't think he's going to. I just don't know who is going to beat MJF. I'm going to give a movie shout out real quickly that MJF's in, is that he is one of those supporting characters in A24's The Iron Claw, which is about the Von Erich family. And I will be there. I will watch it. It's going to be a depressing movie. It's not a spoiler that I'm about to give you guys because history, you guys can wiki about it. But if you're thinking a good story about, brothers overcoming and getting to the wrestling business and all that stuff, to quote DBZ Abridged Android 16 talking to Gohan about, trying to kill Cell, talking about Trunks, I bet you Trunks' stories go as this, and then they died. I'm just saying. Watch some DBZ Abridged. I know it's been over for a while, but it's still great.
As long as they don't do the Chris Benoit story.
As long as they don't do the Chris Benoit story. But, the Von Erichs, I'll send you the Von Erich tragedy link, but, 3 of the 4 brothers died, dude, in their prime. Even, a 6-year-old, died in a puddle after being shot by electricity. It's dark. But MJF's in it. He's playing one of the brothers. Zac Efron's in it. The guy from The Bear and Shameless is in it. Everybody's in it. Go see it. But World's End, they only have that match, and I don't have as much hype for it in Full Gear as I did to Full Gear. That's because I was riding the coattails of Swerve Hangman's feud and a little bit of Moxley and Cassidy's feud. But December 30th, it's a Saturday, right? I could foreseeably pay $50, eat some chicken wings as the last go of my 2023 wrestling. I'll do my night out stuff the next couple of days anyway for the New Year's, but you always have to end the year for yourself, right? So maybe I'm not going to harp too much on it, except last week's match of Christian Cage versus he's not Edge anymore, Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. It was overall a good match. Shayna Wayne came out, who is Nick Wayne's mom. I haven't been catching up on this storyline, so I'm sorry. So I'll give you a very small synopsis. Christian Cage has been adapting kids, basically. He's been adopting people, essentially taking them in. Luchasaurus is now Kill Switch, and then Nick Wayne is now the Prodigy, and then Adam Copeland came back, and he was like, oh, hey, let's be boys, and let's run this tag team division rampant, because they were doing it in WWE. Christian, it's a TNT champion, said, go fuck yourself, 11. Can it count as a curse word if I'm quoting it verbatim? I'll count it, sure, why not? We're doing what we got to do. It's actually a low cursing episode for us. And they had a good match last week. They were in Canada. Christian won, but he didn't win in just the conventional sense where Nick Wayne's mom just hit Edge with the title. Christian realized it was an issue. He low blowed the ref himself to buy him more time. Shayna Wayne came out, hit Copeland with the title, and then I believe he hit Edge with a chair, put his title, or he hit him with the title, put the title under Edge's face and said, "I'm gonna break his freaking neck," and then stomped on it, and then pinned him 1-2-3. So it wasn't like a belabored point where it, Wayne's mom knocked out Copeland for the 1-2-3. It was some added on stuff to get to the 1-2-3. The feud should be good. I don't know what the end game is. It fully, because I don't really want Copeland, formerly known as Edge, multi-time world, champion over WWE, main eventer, Royal Rumble winner, to get the mid card title. And I understand that in AEW, it's not really like there's not really a main title versus another main title. If they want to live that world, sometimes about who has the best story and everything. I get that. But in theory, that's cute. But in reality, AEW World Championship, TNT title. TNT title sounds, or TNT Championship does sound like something. Same thing to a TBS Championship. No offense, really hard. Does sound like something that was created in a Little League trophy setting, or something that you give at the office party for. If you've ever seen The Office itself, like, the busiest beaver award. Anybody who's seen the show knows the misspelling of it was bushiest beaver, but it was just when humor was so good, highbrow. That's how it feels sometimes. But, John Moxley on an interview has said that it's the person who makes the championship, not the championship who makes the person. I'm abridging it, by the way. He has a lot that goes in and says about it. But I've always agreed about that too. Giving someone a title means nothing at that juncture. It's about like the story that can be used in that title. And you have to flip certain things. But it's good. I think somebody else needs to come in and take that title to allow Copeland and Christian to have a good blow-off match. Take away the title, you don't need it. Just because that's a bigger complaint that I have coming into WWE. So I'm just going to segue to it now. I'm excited for the Royal Rumble. Yes. 2 people have officially declared for the Royal Rumble, and now I have concerns. Because what I want in my Royal Rumble is Sami Zayn to win it, to go against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania and win the World Heavyweight Championship. Card is subject to change. That's something that you hear often in wrestling. The 2 people who have declared their spots for the Rumble has been Cody Rhodes, as you know, who wants to finish the story, and he doesn't need a Rumble to win it. Like, if Cody won it again, second year in a row, I'm out, dude. I'm out. I'm like, I'm done. I believe in Derek behind. Like, it's just it, because I feel like he's at that point where he doesn't need to win it. He can do Elimination Chamber, or he could force a trade. But maybe if he got it and he's in the Rumble for like 30 minutes, then I'm okay with it. Because last year came in number 30, so we only had to last like another 15 minutes or so. In comparison to Gunther, who started out like, position 1, number 1, and then was the last guy eliminated. That's saying something. You can have Cody do it, then you earn my respect, sure, because Cody's been in the mud for me. 3 months of feuds with Brock Lesnar didn't do anything for it. Feuding with Judgment Day, doing stuff. Now he's doing some stuff with, Shinsuke Nakamura. And I watched the match. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm pulling off my best Rabid Mario. Going from like, oh my god, what am I gonna do, man? And the other person who has entered is CM Punk, who just came back, Survivor Series. I was telling you guys about afterwards, and his feud with Seth is going to be money. I sent it to you guys. I need Seth to drop that title. But the problem is Punk wants to main event one of the WrestleManias, like, which we will probably get night 1. So I am really in like my own personal hell where I don't want Cody to win the Royal Rumble for reasons, obviously. But then I don't want my problem with CM Punk when he was in AEW was he was a champion. And I'm like, no, you're an attraction because you're like that legend. So you could wrestle, but you don't need a championship. But in order for you to really main event night 1 of WrestleMania, do you have to win the Royal Rumble and challenge Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship? I mean, it doesn't have to happen like that, because last year's Mania, or this year's Mania, because the year's not over yet, the night 1, it was the tag titles that main events it. So can Hunter just give me what I asked of Sammy winning the Royal Rumble? Drew McIntyre beats Seth at some point, getting there, so we get Sammy and Drew. And then the blood feud between Punk and Rollins is so bad, because it was good. Rollins like, I just hate you. I'm like, yeah, I felt that pettiness. It's so bad they just get night 1 in a blood feud, because the year prior to that, Kevin Owens went against Stone Cold Steve Austin in Francisco in that great non-sanctioned match. So who's to say that Punk actually has to win the Royal Rumble to get the main event of night 1 against Rollins, right? Because you're not having Roman lose the title finally after 3 years to Cody on night 1. No, you do that at night 2. You have to, right? Right?
Build it up.
I'm so uncomfortable with everything that's happening here, because I was filling this idea in my brain that Sammy would have been the Rumble guy. Blame you, Humble Wrestling Public Enemy Podcast, and Ryan. Those people I follow, they're fantastic. Please follow them. I hope they one day know about what we're doing for them. Not that they need my help at all. They're fantastic. They're good. They're good, non-hateful wrestling accounts. That's how I'll say it.
Okay.
But so I impregnated myself with this thought of Sammy winning because I love Sammy. You know I love Sammy. I this entire year was based
just
off
an
him.
emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, and so him winning the Rumble, him winning a world championship would just be the pinnacle. And then we get this legend who just derails it all because it's best for business and the story and the money. And I want to see that Seth Punk match. Can I get it without a title? And my friends are like, nah, you know what's going to happen because there is predictability in wrestling, right? At the end of the day, you always know what happens in Hamlet. People die, right? Every shake Romeo and Juliet, people die. You know, when wrestling is like, you know when the mega energy comes in. So I'm like bothered a little bit by it, man. But I'm going to be so ready. The question is, and this will be in the group chat as we build it, what shirt am I going to wear?
Oh.
And we're still getting ready.
Hold on. I have to remember, where are you sitting at in the trop?
Floor H, row.
So you're on the field,
17?
basically.
I'm on the field, baby.
Okay, all
I'm
right,
seeing
all
that.
right.
I'm seeing that shit.
Okay.
12, like, you know, I don't know if I'm near the hard cam or not, but this is listen. This is how I'm saying this. This is what I tell people. I didn't take all that hundreds upon hundreds $1,000s of student loan debt just to sit in the fucking nosebleeds. 13. This is my, listen. I was born in 1989. I won't give you guys the birthday, but I was born in 1989. But January 27th, 2024 in Tropicana Field is the day I was conceived. Like the day I truly came alive. Truly feeling like I was born. Plain and simple. So we're going to see where it takes us. And that's all I got for you this week on the cage.
Okay. Well, this week and this year, Charles.
And this year.
Yeah.
The final cage of the year. And I gave you guys nothing to work with. I love it.
Well, yeah. So we'll be out. I don't know. I might do some mini stuff in between when I'm not doing the hockey stuff. So, it's been a good year, Charles. We're almost towards the end. I want to get to 200, and that'll be sometime, around May-ish, around there. Unless our team's going to run and we have to keep going. but we'll see. As far as this year, you joined me on this journey. We've been on here a long time, and people want to keep following us. You've done all the follows and all that stuff, but I'll be alive on the socials. You want to do the Marlins and the Panthers stuff, so that's for sure, and of course the gaming, and we'll see from there, and then Charles will eventually pick a shirt, and then we'll be back before the Rumble. So everybody enjoy your holidays. It's Hanukkah right now, Christmas soon, and then the New Year's, and we'll enjoy ourselves. We'll of course be doing the stuff on the group chats as always, and Charles may peek in on my Quantum Break playthrough every now and then. And bye everybody. Thank you. Take care. Happy
holidays. Happy holidays, Goof Gang.
Yeah. Bye.